Good evening, everyone, and welcome to DTRC, the signature program of WIRC. Every year we wait for this program, and this year is a special year because new Direct Tax Act is being enacted from 1st April, and to cope up with the changes, it is very imperative for all of us to understand the law and execute it at our office also. Keeping this in mind, we have framed this DTRC in such a way that every aspect of a new tax is touched upon and some kind of deliberation can be happen here. I request my colleagues and chairman of WIRC to escort our chief guest, Shri Anurag Prasad sir, IRS and Chief Commissioner of Income Tax to the dais. Also, I'll request Rakesh Shah, Treasurer of WIRC, to accompany him. Also, I'll request our Senior Council Member Jayesh Kala sir to accompany the chief guest. I also recognize the presence of Preeti Savla, Central Council Member and past Chairperson of WIRC. Also, I recognize the presence of Jinal Savla ma'am, past Secretary of WIRC. Also, I recognize the presence of Vishnu Agarwal sir, Central Council Member and past Chairman of WIRC. So friends, let me inform you that more than 800 registrations we have received for DTRC, and this program will run on for 4 days, 19th, 20th tomorrow also, and next weekend, Friday, Saturday, 25, 26 also. And renowned and very knowledgeable faculties are groomed in for the dissemination of knowledge here. So we request all of you to attend all the sessions. The timing is very comfortable for all of us that we can handle our daily course, and again in evening we can attend for knowledge sharing. I recognize the presence of our learned faculty for the next session, Vimal Punmiya sir and Vishnu Agarwal sir. Please welcome with round of applause our today's dignitary, Chief Commissioner of Income Tax, Shri Anurag Prasad sir, to the dais. Since all the dignitaries are settled down on the dais, I'll request all of you to rise for the CA motto song.
य एष सुप्तेषु जाग्रति य एष सुप्तेषु जाग्रति कामं 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 कामपुरुषो पुरुषो निर्मिमाणः निर्मिमाणः तदेव शुक्रं तद्ब्रह्मा तदेवामृतमुच्यते तस्मिन् लोकः शितः सर्वे तदूनात्यति कश्चन एतद्द्वैता 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 एतद्द्वैता.
Thank you, everyone. Now we'll move forward and we'll start the, this is inaugural session, so we'll start the session with lighting of a lamp. I'll request all the dignitaries come forward. Also, I'll request Preeti Madam, Jinal Savla Madam, Vishnu ji and Vimal ji, please come forward.
सम्पदः शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तु ते शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
Dear members, it gives me immense pleasure to stand before you in capacity of Vice Chairman of Directors Committee. In absence of Directors Committee Chairman Ketan Sayya sir, I heartily welcome you all to this event and very successful event. More than 800 members have registered for this, and there are many other activities WRC is conducting. And to enlighten you on those aspects, I'll request our WRC chairman, happen to be a 75th WRC chairman, to come forward and share his thoughts and vision with you.
Good afternoon, one and all. I believe we are in the signature event of WRC where we can have more energy from your side. Good afternoon. Dignitaries on the dais, our chief guest and keynote speaker, Shri Anurag Prasad ji, IRS Chief Commissioner on Income Tax, Treasurer of WRC, CA Rakesh Shah, Vice Chairperson of this wonderful committee at WRC, CA Sanjay Nikam, Senior Council Member at region level, CA Jayesh Kalaji. And we are very fortunate to have presence of our Central Council members, CA Priti Savla Madam and CA Vishnu Agarwal ji. We do have presence of our next speaker, CA Vimal Punmiya ji with us. Friends and dear members, it is really a proud privilege to address you as a chairman of the largest regional council of ICI in this wonderful program, which is the signature program of WRC. And we have more than 750 plus participation in this wonderful program. Let's have a big round of applause for each one of you. This is the program where we always feel motivated in terms of participation, in terms of knowledge experience, and we always want to have update on the topic which is core of our profession, I can say, that is the direct tax. And this year specifically, we have a huge responsibility on our shoulder in terms of new Income Tax Act 2025. And I'm very happy to say that at ICI level, at WRC level, we have already engaged more than 5,000 members in terms of direct tax committee, in terms of participation for the knowledge update related to Income Tax Act 2025. And believe me, friends, the way the structure is designed, I must compliment in absentia the chairman of Direct Tax Committee at WRC, CA Ketan Sayya ji. The way it is designed, it will provide 360-degree knowledge for all the updates and subject matter. Friends, as I am the 75th chairperson of WRC and I have a huge responsibility in terms of representing the great legacy where we have our stalwarts, those were earlier the part of council, and we want to present more than 1.35 lakh members, and that is why we generally say that this is the largest regional council, and that is why in this year I have a huge responsibility in terms of providing knowledge sharing, enriching experience and elevation to the profession. And in this series, we are trying to create an impact on all the stakeholders through our initiative. And I'm very happy to say that today I am standing in front of you on my 115th day of chairmanship. I am counting my dates also in terms of delivery. And in last 115 days, we have delivered more than 100 physical programs to all our members in terms of great knowledge sharing experience. And this is the highest in terms of engagement at WRC. And in this series, we have come out with some initiatives also, which is very, very important for all of us to understand. So we are trying to create innovation. We are striving for change of mindset from compliance to consultancy. We are trying that we should focus on more value addition rather than day-to-day compliances. We are targeting to have highest professional excellence, and for which we are providing so many training programs. Recently, we had a wonderful program on financial modeling and valuation in terms of training, in which only 50 members were invited, and they were having hands-on experience, and the kind of feedback I received is really motivating for all of us. In recent, we had a discussion on Global Capability Center. First time under the banner of ICI. In Mumbai, we have discussed for GCC. Then we have discussed for the alternative investment funds and family offices, CXO roundtables, and there are so many innovative programs in terms of providing professional excellence to all our members, which we are organizing this year at WRC. Friends, we are targeting to have AI and technology session also in terms of adaptability, which we all needed, because whenever a person asks me that AI will replace chartered accountant, I generally say AI replace chartered accountant. Those chartered accountant only, those are not using AI. So a chartered accountant, those using AI can be replaced instead of those are not using AI. And that is why we are providing highest batches in terms of AI all across the India. We are targeting to have so many programs on artificial intelligence and technological development. Friends, then again we are in the era where collaboration is much needed. Networking is the core, collaboration is the core, where we can develop a lot of synergies for our practices. And that is why we have come out very unique initiative, that is CA Nexus, in which we are inviting data from all the chartered accountant, those are in practice. They are looking forward to have partnership collaboration with other firms or other individual. So we are targeting to have data from smaller firms and as well as larger firms also. Those are looking to have a partnership collaboration. And this is also aligned with the country leadership also. When Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji said that we like to have more big firm from India, then our role came into picture, and that is why we are targeting to have more and more partnership collaboration in CA Nexus. And I'm very happy to say that in last 115 days, we have received 98 applications on WRC website for the partnership collaboration. And very soon, we are going to have a physical program where we will organize and we will part as a, you can say, the facilitator of partnership collaboration amongst all the applicants. We will invite all the firms and all the applicants for the physical program, and it will be a great show in terms of having partnership collaboration under CA Nexus. Then one more initiative in the collaboration theme which we like to have at our profession is we announced is WRC Corporate Setu. Friends, this is the problem statement that in general our members in industry are least connected with our alma mater, be it ICI, be it WRC. And that is why our role came into picture when 70% of the population are in industry, and if they are less connected with ICI, then we have to do something extraordinary for that. And that is why in WRC Corporate Setu, we are targeting to have more and more participation from the members in industry, members in businesses. And I'm very happy to say that we have done so many programs which is targeting to members in industry. Now we are doing customization also in our program as per the need of the industry. And very recently we have received a call from Kotak Bank that they want to have a wonderful program at WRC for their chartered accountant. So you can understand that now they are recognizing our efforts. Now they want to be the part of WRC in terms of having program, which is again the need of the hour for the industry also. And once industry will be connected, I can believe that we all being the practicing side also can be ahead of the curve in terms of having all update from the industry. Friends, this is the 75th year of WRC, and very soon on 1st July, we will come out with the 75 new initiatives, in which one of the initiatives is related to Yoga Day, which is we are celebrating on 21st morning 7 to 9 with the participation of our own member who is the Minister in Center Committee, CA Piyush Goyal ji is coming to join us in the Yoga Day celebration, which we are hosting at Therapant Bhavan, Kandivali, and we are expecting more than 400 members in this yoga session. Friends, all other initiatives are available on WRC website. I'll not take much of time on the highlighting the initiative, but I want to highlight some programs which is very, very important to understand for all of us. One of the program is related to MSME and startup. That is the Scale Up India Summit, which we are hosting on 26 and 27 June at a larger landscape, that is Geo Convention Center, in which more than 1,000 members, those are representing MSMEs and startup, is going to join. Because this is the program where we are targeting our footprint beyond the chartered accountants. And I'm very happy to say that we have done collaboration with more than 98 organizations. Those are taking part in this wonderful program where we will have a highest footprint from the MSMEs and startup. And this is also having a wonderful participation from chartered accountants in terms of networking, engagement, and knowledge sharing. All the stalwarts related to startups and MSMEs going to take part. And very happily, I want to say that as we are in partner in nation building, we are providing MSME help desk to all the industry representative. We are guiding them for any consultancy which is required, which can be done on spot also, and afterwards also we will provide extended help, and there will be booth in terms of MSME help desk in the wonderful program which we are hosting at Geo. Friends, then we are celebrating our 78th CA Day at a more scalable venue, which is K Divine in Borivali West, where we are targeting more than 2,000 chartered accountant members and their families, and it will be a great celebration. On 1st July, first we are doing flag hosting at our institute, that is ICI BKC Bhavan, and then we are doing plantation and Swachh Bharat Abhiyan also, we will part that, and there will be a senior chartered accountant felicitation also, and afterwards we will have our program at a larger venue, that is K Divine, Borivali West, in which we will have a dance, music from our own members, and then we will have an enriching experience in terms of musical night. So looking forward for your participation for 78th CA Day celebration. And then on 5th July, we have organized master class on GST, in which we have invited Vimal Jain sir, Jatin Harjai, Avishnash Poddarji, Sunil Gabawala and Sonia Arora. It is one day master class on GST that is hosting at Therapant Bhavan on 5th July. Friends, this time also we have targeted an intuitive experience in terms of sub-regional conference, where we are offering residential facility also to all the participants. And I'm very happy to say that from all across Maharashtra, more than 1,000 chartered accountants are gathering in this wonderful sub-regional conference, that is Gyan Uday, which we are hosting under the banner of Western India Regional Council, and that is at Shegaon, again a divine place where we are looking forward to have great participation with knowledge sharing. And again, a wonderful program, the signature program of WRC, the largest ever program, which we have announced well in advance in front of our members. More than 7 months before, we are giving an opportunity to take participation in 40th Regional Conference, which is going to be happen at larger landscape, again, Geo Convention Center, with the participation of more than 3,000 members. There will be more than 80 exhibitions, which we are targeting. And friends, as we are offering early bird discount for the earlier registration, please take part in this wonderful Divya Drashti, where we are going to discuss about Vidya, Vision and Values. So there are full show in terms of programs at WRC. If I want to highlight all, then full session can be taken on that. So looking forward for your participation, and once again welcome you all in this wonderful signature program of WRC, and thank you for your participation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chairman Sauraj Miraji, for updating us with the activities WRC is conducting for the members. You rightly said, there are so many activities. If we start listing everything, then it will take a complete session. But today's focus is only on the direct tax, and I'll request now my colleague and treasurer of WRC, Rakesh Shah sir, to come forward and introduce our today's learned faculty. Please, sir.
So, good afternoon, friends, dignitaries on the dais, dignitaries of the dais, and all participants. I'm happy to introduce chief guest for the day. Mr. Anurag Prasad is a distinguished Indian Revenue Service officer, 1991 batch, and is currently serving as a Chief Commissioner of Income Tax 1, Mumbai. He is having more than 30 years of experience. He has led key assignment in direct taxation, international taxation law, economic crime investigation, and corporate governance. He is an alumni of St. Stephen College and the University of Amsterdam. He is widely respected for his expertise in international taxation, digital economy, policy formation, and taxpayer dispute resolution. So, welcome you, Mr. Prasad, to this inaugural session of the TRC. I thank you. Now I request my chairman to present a memento to the chief guest. Thank you.
Anurag sir, before you take the charge of the podium, we want to take your services and your blessings for inauguration of our publication of our WRC Directory 2026. So I'll request support team to come forward, and we are going to release the publication of WRC Directory 2026. WRC reference manual 2627. One more achievement for this in this term, that on the DTRC day we are publishing a reference. Also now I will request the dignitaries to publish the WRC directory. I'll request our dignitary and chief guest of today's session, Chief Commissioner of Income Tax, Shri Anurag Prasad ji, to take the charge of the session.
Good evening, dear friends. It's my. Can you hear me now? Good evening, dear friends. It's my honor to have been invited by WIRC for inauguration of the signature course being conducted, the direct tax refresher course. I'm very happy to note that it is an annual flagship program of WIRC and focuses on the current developments and emerging issues in direct taxation. Saurabh just told me that 750 participants have already registered for the course and that it is being conducted for more than 3 decades. The participants, I am told, are practicing chartered accountants, tax consultants, industry professionals, finance executives, and corporate tax professionals. The course content is very exhaustive, including survey, search, seizure, important ITAT, High Court, Supreme Court judgments, taxation of partnerships, key differences between the old and the new Act, taxation of trusts, family offices, and investment holding structures. Also, taxation of real estate transactions, key learnings from recent international tax decisions, TDS, transition of TDS provisions from the old Act to the new Act, and interplay between income tax and individual AS. I had a brief. I would have loved to have a more engaging and vibrant discussion, but given the paucity of time, we could spend few minutes on discussing certain very interesting aspects. I have a few suggestions to make. I hope the program director or whoever is heading the program will make a note, will give some consideration. I was fortunate to study in the University of Amsterdam and got a degree in international tax law, master's in international tax law, and also wrote a research paper at the International Bureau of Fiscal Documentation also in Amsterdam. So they were quarterly seminars, knowledge sharing seminars, where they would discuss the recent court decisions from all over the world. And the idea was that decisions delivered by courts across the world help to refine our understanding of law. And I was surprised that in one of the sessions they shared that in the last 30 years, the 5,000 landmark decisions that have been delivered, out of those, some 2,000 came from the Indian courts. So you can imagine how prolific our courts are, also because of the workload and also because of the judicial process. So it is my suggestion that WIRC may consider joining the IBFD research platform, which is a paid service, but it's not so expensive. But the quality of material that is available is fantastic, and there's also a lot of stuff from Indian courts and from courts across the world. I also suggest that in the course content, it can be considered that there is a study of how the emerging or current international trends, whether they are political events such as present war, which has just concluded, or climatic trends, just like the long-awaited monsoon, how it is affecting the markets, how it is affecting the revenue earnings, investments, And we have all read that in the last 6 months there has been some trends in the international investments in India. And finally, I would also like to suggest that there should be a full-fledged paper on how AI can help us in organizing the judicial matters, and how it can help in, it does help with the administrative part, but how it can help in organizing and suggesting the interpretative part of the decisions that are coming. And finally, because I did some work on the ESG, and I was just having a discussion with Madam that even the small investors, retail small investors in the European Union are so conscious that even if they have very small savings to invest, they make it a point to go through the ESG performance of the companies, and then only they invest. They say, we put our money where our heart is. So I also recommend that there is inclusion of ESG goals. It is also one of the 17 sustainability goals of the United Nations. So I strongly suggest that it is also included in the course content. I thank you again, friends, for inviting me. I was, last month also, I was invited for a session on the new act, and I'm honored to be here again today. And my best wishes to the participants, and congratulations to the organizers of this event. Thank you very much.
It was wonderful interaction from our chief guest with the members, and his experience and knowledge was visible with his words. So I'll request my council colleague, senior member Jayesh Kala sir, to present a worthy vote of thanks for the delivery of our chief guest speech.
Good afternoon, friends, dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, and my dear participants. It was really a wonderful speech, very short, very crisp, very brief, but exactly to the point, what is the need of the hour. And his experience across the globe has made him such a wonderful personality. And I'm sure that with his words of wisdom, we all must have gained great insights. With this, sir, we express our deepest gratitude to you on behalf of WIRC and behalf of entire participants for sparing your valuable time out of your busy schedule. He is extremely busy, Chief Commissioner of Income Tax 1, which is the most busiest charge in the entire Income Tax Department. Sir, really, we are thankful and grateful to you. Thank you very much, sir.
I'll request our backup team to rearrange the dais for next session.
So good evening, everyone. Everybody must be very excited for this Direct Tax Refresher Course series, and we are starting our first session with a very eminent personality, Vimal Punmiya sir. So I request my council colleague, Jinal Savla, to please escort Vimal Punmiya sir and our Central Council member, Preeti Savla madam, to the dais. This series is, again, it's very important on the right time because we all are evolving with the new Income Tax Act. So, none other than Vimal Punmiya sir could have been justice for this topic. So, before starting formally this session, I would request our Central Council member Preeti Savla madam to please address to all of us.
Good evening, everyone. Respected faculty, Vimal ji Punmiya, dear friends Shweta and Jinal on the dais, say Vishnu Agarwal ji, council colleague present here, Chairman WRC Saurabh and entire team, seniors and all dear participants. As this DTRC season comes, the rainy season comes and DTRC comes. Even though the rains are delayed, DTRC is going on. And friends, at present I am chairing Ethical Standard Board. Friends, this is a golden jubilee year, 50th year of Ethical Standard Board. And I am privileged to chair ESB this year. And we have come out with various changes which are approved by the council recently, which are applicable from 1st April 2026. We will have a special session, and what I have hearing over here, we can have our a session on this revised, this is the 13th revision of Code of Ethics. And I was feeling, let us have, and I was going to say to Chairman WRC, let us have our revised Code of Ethics session over here only. We are also coming out with mock disciplinary hearings, because what preventive measures one should take so that this regulatory and the disciplinary action should not come on the members. I was just discussing with few of my friends downstairs, and various members, what I understand, even I was also knowing, but when we deep dive into this code, we understand lot of things, what we have to take care. So we will have a special session on this revised Code of Ethics and one mock DC here at WIRC. So that all of you can take benefit. I have experience of now 4 years of disciplinary bench also, and we have concluded more than 6,000 cases in 4 years. And only one point I want, since it is connected with direct tax, one major change which has been brought recently by the council, and it is a council decision as regards to tax audit limit. It was 60, maximum 60 tax audits one can do, and it was earlier qua firm. However, it is now qua member or qua partner. Means, to give an example, if it is a firm, say for example ABC and company, there are 3 partners. Earlier, they can do 180 tax audits, and only one partner can sign 180 audits. However, this has been changed, and now it is qua partner. So one partner can sign only up to 60 tax audit. So there are various changes as regards to advertisements, as regards to receipt of the fees. So it has been now changed in the code that if your fees from the previous auditor is pending, and if the client is spy client, that is public interest entity. And if 1 year fee is pending, you cannot do the audit. And non-PI client, if 2 years fees are pending for audit, you cannot do the audit if the 2 years fees are pending. So it's again a welcome move, so that more and more means you can always say to your clients, because clients have various excuses. I have a wedding of my daughter or son, I have so many expenditure, we have invested something new in the business, only audit fees they are not ready to give. And this is like everywhere I am hearing from various members, from various friends. So there are like that more than 60 such clauses which have been changed, and all are in the interest and beneficial in nature for the members. So we will deal with all this separately. Now is a time to deal with new Income Tax Act and analysis and various points which will be covered by very knowledgeable dignitaries. So I wish you a very, very happy learning. And again, I was heading Sustainability Reporting Standard Board, and we have come out with exposure draft on standard on sustainability assurance 5,000. So you can give your comments to that also. Again, our code starts with a slogan. Our new code of ethics starts with a slogan, Dharmo Rakshitah Rakshati. So let us follow that in our profession, and I wish you a very happy learning. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Madam, for letting us know about the changes. I can say that this is really a welcoming changes in 13th edition of Code of Ethics, and Madam has worked really hard to this come into the real act. Thank you so much. We have with us another hard-working Central Council member, Vishnu Agrawal sir, with us. So I request Vishnu sir to please address all of us.
Thank you, madam. Respected Vimal Punmiya ji, our today's speaker on the search and seizure, under whom I have taken the training, and today I am standing here because of him only. My council colleague, CA Preeti Savla ji, regional council member Sweta Jain and Jinal Savla ji, senior in the profession, ladies and gentlemen, and very good afternoon to each one of you. Friends, we are discussing about today, Vimal Punmiya ji will discuss about the search and seizure under the new Income Tax Act. Friends, handling the search is an art. Without art, anyone cannot handle the search and seizure process. Friends, in Mumbai, only 10 to 12 chartered accountant is doing the practice in the search and seizure. In the ITAT, only 10 to 15 chartered accountant is doing the practice. Friends, my earnest request to each one of you, out of my 40,000 chartered accountant, in which 20,000 chartered accountant in practice, only 10 to 15 chartered accountant is dealing with the search and seizure practice and the ITAT practice. 5 lakh commissioner appeal is pending to argue before the GST tribunal, and only my 10 to 15 chartered accountant again is doing the practice in the litigation side of the GST. So it is the very good opportunity for our chartered accountant to doing the practice in the GST, search and seizure and income tax appellate tribunal, because it is always required the confidence first and knowledge second. Friends, whenever any search has been happen on any place of the business, there are 3 to 4 major things required. Number one things, any diary found during the course of the search, whether any increment material has been found or not, whether any WhatsApp chat has been found, whether Excel sheet has been found, so many dump document has been found during the course of the search. And how to tackle with that Excel sheet, dump document, WhatsApp chat, each and everything, that is called an art in the during the course of the search, as well as the post-search proceeding, as well as the central circle assessment, as well as in the CIT appeal and the ITAT appeal. Friends, today our Vimal Punmiya ji will speak about the search and seizure topic, so I will not touch about this particular thing. Friends, as a peer review chairman, we are coming out with the 1st July, the total automation portal for the peer review process. We are from application to the certificate generation, there is no interference of any human being. Friends, on the 1st of the July, our Vice President of India will inaugurate this peer review portal. And friends, when direct tax code, when direct tax bill was the pending before the last year in the parliament, and this direct tax bill was given to the select committee. Friends, we, as a direct tax vice chairman last year, we have given each and every close by close suggestion to the select committee, and before the select committee, our major challenge was this, that under section 288, our sister bodies was also approaching to the select committee to include their name. Friends, when we were presenting before the select committee has told that this is the only domain of the chartered accountant to sign the tax audit report. Friends, select committee has given 45 minutes to the ICI to represent the each and every clause, and when they were heard to us, they have extended the time 2 hours 30 minutes, and after that they have said that only Chartered Accountant Institute can do this work, and given the suggestion by the betterment of the nation. Friends, 101 suggestion is accepted by the select committee, which given by the Institute of the Chartered Accountant of India in the era of the new amended bill. Friends, now the time has came for the company amendment bill is before the JPC committee. The lot of changes is there. Friends, we are all 32 Central Council member again doing very hard work, because one more most important changes is that under 1 crore of the rupees there is no audit under the Company Act. Friends, I can understand that my 64,000 chartered accountant firm are the proprietorship firm in the remote area, in the official area across the country. Most of chartered accountant is having the audit of less than 1 crore rupees of in the small companies. Friends, we 32 Central Council member, again we are giving the good representation before the JPC committee, because this bill is pending before the JPC committee, and day before yesterday our council member has given the presentation along with the president and the vice president before the JPC committee. Friends, so many changes we have done, and so many good decisions has been taken for the profession. I will not take much of the time, because our senior members Vimal Punmiya ji today enlightened with the search and seizure provision. Friends, only my request to each one of you that this litigation practice, direct tax, is our bread and butter. So my newly qualified chartered accountant is not entering into this litigation practice. Only our senior chartered accountant is doing this particular practice. So my earnest request to each one of you that this is the most important era of our chartered accountant, and not forget this particular litigation practice, search and seizure practice, and the GST tribunal practice. With these words, I thanks to each one of you for my patience hearing and this beautiful gathering in the direct tax program. Thank you, friends.
Thank you so much, sir, for guiding us about the changes in the rules and regulation, even the statistics which you shared, even for me also it is in the news, and I can say it's a very bright future for the direct tax professional in terms of search and seizure and ITAT practice. Regarding peer review also you have highlighted. Of course, peer review is a demand in today's era, and every firm, I think we all must have get done this peer review, our firm. So now the time is to hear from Vimal Punmiya, sir. Sir, I think there is no need of introduction of Vimal Punmiya, sir. I'm just doing a formality, because whenever we listen to sir, I can say every time we'll get a new thing in terms of learning. So sir is having over 48 years of distinguished practice, specializing in taxation, audit, corporate advisory, and property-related laws. He is a founder of his own firm, Vimal Punmiya and Company, advising 1,000+ resident and non-resident clients across diverse financial and legal domains. very renowned author, speaker at more than 2,500 seminars worldwide, and respected contributor to professional, social, and industry organization. With this brief introduction, sir, I welcome you at the platform of WIRC. Really, thank you so much for accepting the invitation. So I just want to request our Central Council member Vishnu Agarwal sir and Preeti Sawla madam to present a memento as a token of appreciation to sir. पूछ लेते ना सर को ये चाहिए क्या
चाहिए सब दिखेंगे मेरे को थोड़ा बता देना है किसको आगे पीछे करना है एक सेकंड ठीक है समझ गया ओके थैंक यू CA Priti Savla ji, Central Council member, my friend Shri Vishnu Agarwal, Central Council member, Sweta ji Jain, Regional Council member, Jinnal Savla ji, Regional Council member, and friends. For next 1 hour, we are going to discuss about the search, seizure, and survey. And it gives me a great honor to discuss something in Yogi Sabhagraha in the presence of so many chartered accountants, and out of which I think 50% I know them personally also. When we talk about the search, first question comes in mind, why search? Why search taken place? Who has given my information? And once you start, how to handle that minimum damages take place? And what to do if search don't come? What are my rights during the course of search? What are my duties during the course of search? What are the rights of department during the course of search? What are the duty of department in the source of search? And after search is over, how to proceed for the assessment? So either no damage take place or minimum damage take place. They are for Income Tax Act, this is the highest provision the department can do something to the SSC. They can enter in their privacy and go into the various details and take out various papers. Now first let us start with slab-wise only, system-wise only. Information-based. First they get the information, Finance Intelligence Unit. Department have their now Finance Intelligence Unit, where high-level transactions they interpret, and they find out whether that much debit is there, whether that kind of income of SSC is there, and they give information to the search department for further investigation. Inside portal, other department is GST, some raid is there, Customs, some raid is there, and they intimate to the Income Tax Department that these are the discrepancies we have found in our area. So you go through as per your area whether such things can be done further anything. Complaint based, let a more informant professional trainer. This I will take in the end. Let the 95% rate take place because of this only. Tax evasion petition, some business competitor file the petition, some employee leave and some fight take place, he give the complaint. Accountant leave and he give the complaint. Two brothers are fighting with each other, one brother complaint against the other, and that is going on. That is the tax evasion petition. Bogus purchase expenses. I made the purchases where I've really taken a bill and paid by check. No goods have come. So it means indirectly I paid the check, received the checks. And similarly, bogus expenses I have claimed. Printing stationery, I have taken a bill in last moment. Cash is received, goods is not received. So such cases also are the limelight. Bogus sales. I have some another source of income, which I cannot disclose in the Income Tax Department. And I file bogus bill, take the checks, offer for the profit, but corresponding purchase is not there. So those such person he also targets the department to find out what is my other source of income. Bogus loan taken, we call it Hawala entries. Bogus loan given, these are the person are the target. Bogus capital gain, penny stock, very famous thing. So their department know 100% check is taken, cash is given back. But now practically what happens in department, ITO stage or even appellate stage, what they feel, penny stock means share which valued over time increased. That is penny stock, but that is not the penny stock. Penny stock is something else actually, which is not defined in Income Tax Act, but wherever price goes up 10 times, 20 times, 30 times, 40 times, department take as a penny stock. And that is so bogus capital gain comes. Bogus deduction, I have not given donation to anyone, claiming deduction. I have given donation to somebody, taken cash under the table and claim as exemption. Similarly, bogus CSR expenses, information gathered during the search of the third party or associate. Raid is taken place on one builder. I have given loan to that person, say 5 crore rupee, immediately they will come to my place. Similar way, I have taken some fees from that person. Actual work is not done, cash is paid back, such person will also become target. So even my business, the raid is not me, it is on somebody else. But I am also, along with that, I will also go under that circle. Now main item which I told you, informers. Informers, they give information. Their work is to give information, like we chartered accountant practice in income tax area, audit area, advocate do the court practice. The informers' work is to give information. They gather various information from various places. They have offices in Lohar Chal, Javri Bazar, Gulalwadi, Bhuleshwar, in that area. So if somebody is observing our client, then of course information and department process that information. Now once the information comes, what department do? Department directly information will go to Director General of Income Tax Department. Accordingly, he will appoint one DDI. And he will give him one time to study for that particular file and particular information. Now let us assume information against the builder. He sell the flat, take money under the table, same money rotated in form of the loan, and accordingly they will process the case. So person will go to the builder's office as a customer, find out whether really taking cash or not. He will go to the Income Tax Department, find out his files. Now everything is online, so he has access to those all things. So he will verify the loan is genuine or bogus. For example, complaint is against the jeweler. He charged for the 22 carat but give only 18 carat. So department will really buy jewelry from that person. And after they will send to the mint and find out really whether 18 carat is sold or 22 carat is sold. And if he really given 18 carat, then what extra amount he charged for 4 carat, what he had done with that money. So again must have come by way of a loan or something else. So that DDI, after studying for 1 month, after studying, doing everything, he has to give a report in a 1 month's time. And under that report, all calculations are given, question, answer, reply is given. And if department find that by raiding a particular person, we can get minimum unaccounted income worth 100 crore rupee. Act mein it is not anywhere. But in practice mein it is 100, Bombay for 100 plus crore, then only raid is authorized. So those person, our client, have less than 100 crore rupee as unaccounted money, then we don't have to worry about anything. But that person, and of course chartered accountant to apna to kya hai, limelight mein, who is a limelight? Builder, jewelers, doctor, film star, metal merchant. These are the limelight. Advocate, they don't take panga. And chartered accountant to choli daman ka saath hai apna department se. So we are not the target as such, but if some CA is involved in wrong transaction, helping client in doing hawala business or reducing profit or increasing profit, then of course he is also target. What is the distinction between the income tax search and same thing? Now sections are different because we know now we are talking about Income Tax Act 2025. Earlier it was Income Tax Act 1961. 99% everything is same. Except electronic data, some amendments have there. Wherever amendment is there, I will tell you. Otherwise, 99% everything is same. Section is different. Old wine in new bottle. Contents are same, but section is different. Earlier, income tax, we talked about rate section 132. Now it is 247. Income survey was under 133A. Now it is under 253. Now, who authorized the raid? First is go to the DDIT, then additional DIT, then principal DIT, and Director General. So DDI, additional DI, and DG. And what are the earlier names? The name have changed, so we will not bother much on that. Power of authorized officer. Now we want to know what are the power of the officer who come at place. I have seen many times, there are 4 brothers. 3 brothers looks after the business, sale, purchase, sale, everything. 1 brother looked after only family matters. If somebody dies, he go to that place. If somebody get married, engagement, his social work only attending. If a raid take place, he get a heart attack first. He has nothing to do with the business. So they don't know what are their rights and duties, what are the right of the department and duty of department. And once they don't know, everything is pending. Somebody morning mein ring bell aayega, doodh wala aaya hai, he get tension, sala income tax wala hai. Every time doorbell ring, the senior person get tension. So we have to, and in our office, it is our duty of a chartered accountant, to explain our client what are your rights and what are your duties. Because till client don't know what department can do and what he can do, then he cannot plan anything. For that purpose, I will tell you, study, let us say I am in practice. Let me study my client's file, 80-20 business. For example, whatever my collection, my 20% client pay my 80% fees. And 80% client pay my 20% fees. So those 20% client who pay my 80% of the fees are in the limelight. They will be builder or jeweler, doctor, film star, metal merchant. Such person, we must send them some write-up. In case raid take place, these are your rights, these are your duties, these are the right of department, these are the duty of department. And once he understands that, 25% panic will be over otherwise also. So, what search party can do? Enter the search of the premises, they will come to place. And how they will come? For example, 12% is coming. 5% will remain in left side, 6 will remain in the right side, 1% only in the front of your gate. So from inside you see, you will find only 1%. He will ring the doorbell. Immediately after doorbell, you open the door, or servant open the door, 1% will come inside immediately. He will say, I am from income tax, and uske piche all 11% will follow him. All 12 will not come. You cannot see from the doorbell all the 12%. So that way, they will enter the premises. They will show the search warrant. कोई आपके ऊपर warrant है. That warrant you see in a detail, whatever you want to see. Because in your life, you will not able to see that warrant again. If another day take place, some another warrant will come. And that warrant can be seen only by the High Court and by the Supreme Court. Nobody can see that warrant again. So you see very properly, your name is there, your address is there, signed by the proper appropriate person. And once everything you satisfied, then you sign the warrant and give them back. Search individual entering and leaving the premises. The person who will come, they will offer that if you want to search our pockets, you can do that. Your past mein it hai Japan. One person was raided in somewhere in Andheri. He always used to give loan outside books of accounts and maintain in court one paper. And all 24 hours that paper used to keep in his pocket. During the course of search, one paper was found which was typed. This man said, in my life I never got typed any paper. Ye type wala kaise mere ghar mein mila? Details were correct. What he used to write in a handwriting, same was got in typed. Now later on he found the person who is given the information, he has given them the typed sheet. And when income tax officer came to the place, they came with the typed sheet. And so paper was brought from outside during the course of search or before the search started. It was not found at the place. So now the rule is, whenever officer comes, they will offer their pocket, ki hamara search karo. When they go, they will offer again. But decency has to be maintained. For example, some lady officer come and she say, I am offering myself for my search. Then lady from the family will come and she will check that. Head of the family or family member or boy cannot say, nahi, main tumhara check karega abhi. Aisa nahi, lady to lady. And even our family member, lady family, department want to check, that also will the same decency. While going also they offer for the check. Reason, remind me, one of my client, Kishore Kumar Bhimji Javeri, he was raided. Morning mein 200 guineas were found and department said, unaccounted, we are going to seize. And my client also say, you seize. While evening when they making the Panchanama, they were only 196 guineas. So my client said, morning mein 200 tha, abhi 196 kaisa ho gaya? You first make it my guinea clear. You seize, you do whatever you want. But where is my 4 guinea? They counted 4-5 times, it was 196. Morning when they counted, it was 200. Finally, matter went to Director General. He came at the site He said, what is the issue? We explained him, my client have explained him, I was also there, one of the observer. So DG thought that either department officer has taken or SSC member have taken, somebody has taken. In morning में 200 था, now it is 196. So where is the 4 guinea? Then there was the puja room. He kept all 196 guinea in the puja room. And he said all person, one by one, from the department will go, from SSC's family will go, including servant, including everyone who was inside the property, including panchas. Everyone went inside, came back. Then it was counted, it was 200. It means 4 guineas were taken by somebody else. So after that, law has become, if when the officer goes back, again they offer their search, and we have right to take their search. Practice में कोई लेता नहीं है, but we have right. Bank break or open lock. If key is found of the cupboard, key is not found of the cupboard. Cupboard is there. They want to, then they have all the right to break that. But they wrongly break your sofa, floor, wall. Then, if nothing is found, and just to harass you, they are doing all the exercise of breaking things, then we can file even case against Income Tax Department and recover the money. But if something is found in the wall, or something found in the sofa, something found in the floor, then of course we can't do anything. Department can do that. Inspect books of and other documents for information. Department can do that. Seek assistance from the police. अभी कोई आदमी है, बिल्डर है, 24 ही घंटा पिस्तौल ही अपने सामने रखता है, कुछ भी बात होता है बार बार पिस्तौल उठाता है, तो then department will. Otherwise also, wherever raid take place in the office, 2 policemen come with them. Wherever raid take place at home, 1 lady police officer and 1 policeman, they will be at home. But if the department need more person, then they can call for the more person also. Seize books of account, document, money, etc. from the search premises. Record statement of individual. Pass a restraint order or prohibitory order. These items are such that they cannot cease. And at the same time, they feel this can be accounted also. Person may not be aware of everything. What is my jewelry? They have to consult chartered accountant. Or they have to go through certain papers. Whether this money cash in hand found suddenly 1 crore. Whether accounted, not accounted, he got number of firm. So case of all firm is to be counted. That point of time, books are not written properly. Half books are written. So in that system of accounting, department will do, they put in a prohibitory order. They put in the prohibitory order means you can't touch, they will put a seal on that, and after 15 days, 20 days, after talking to you, they will come. But whenever seal is put, it is our duty to take care of that seal. They remind me, one of my clients, Mr. Prem Nath, film star was there, his son is a Prem Kishan. He was film star, now doing some TV serial, making TV serial in name of Cinevesta. He stayed in Bandra. There was a raid of Income Tax Department. Lot of jewelry was found. And as a film star, he was not aware actually what is jewelry accounted, what is not accounted. He said, I have to consult my chartered accountant, I have to consult my accountant, and then only I will be able to tell you what is, I don't know anything. But to the best, he said, to the best of my knowledge, everything is accounted. Department said, okay, we'll put in prohibitory order. Seal laga diya. Within 15 days, he called me, he called his accountant and found out, and everything is accounted. They think outside books of accounts. Then he started calling the department officer, DDI, कि sir, आके खोलो seal. DDI always used to say, I'm busy at airport, I'm busy at here, I'm conducting other raid. This way he passed 2 months. Meantime, really robbery has taken place. और चोर को तो कोई लगता नहीं है सील. रॉबर्स आए रात में, तोड़ दिया ताला और लेके गया गोल्ड सब. और उसकी मदर थी वहाँ पे, मदर इन लॉ, तो उसके साथ थोड़ा मारपीट भी हुआ. सेकेंड डे लेडी वाज एडमिटेड इन द हॉस्पिटल. देन दैट DDI वेंट टू द DG. इस तरह से लोगों को मैं रोज बोलता हूँ कि सील खोलो. They were always avoiding, and today they themselves have broke something and taken out. Meantime, my client approached DG. He said, I am calling him for last 2 months. Nobody is coming, and this is my call record. If he has called me even once in last 2 months, let him show the mobile phone. What is the record of that? And finally, DG interfered. He tried to convince us. He said, we'll transfer this case to somebody else and this and that, and we will take it slowly, not take a strong action against you or him or this or that. And finally, compromise was that our appraisal report will be a little soft. So it is our duty to take care of the seal of the department. कभी कोई नौकर आ गया खोल दिया मिस्टेक से, लेडी को कोई पार्टी में जाना है और उसने खोल दिया, then there will be problems. Duty of the authorized officer allows children to go to school. They cannot stop, but they can check the back. Don't threaten, abuse, or बीच में there was one lady called Nair in DDI wing. She used to use all wrong word used to use. Slap also to the client or their accountant, and later on was transferred. So income tax rates are much, much simpler than custom and GST and other rates. Always decency maintained. They work like your friend. All meal, party can take their meal, medicine, everything in normal course. If every one person go every day to the temple at 5 o'clock, department cannot stop. He will go to the temple. Maximum they can send the inspector with him. पर कोई आदमी बोलेगा मैं 5 बजे टेम्पल में जाएगा, रात को 11 बजे वापस आएगा. That is not allowed. If person sleep in the afternoon for 2 hours, department will not disturb. He will sleep आराम से. पर आप बोलो नहीं अभी तो मैं सोने को जाएगा, 2 दिन बाद उठेगा आराम से. That is not permitted. Maintain a cool and calm temperature and leave the premises only after informing the SSC. Right of searched person. SSC can demand to see the search warrant authorized. They can refuse entry to a not properly signed. So if authorized warrant is not signed properly, they can refuse. SSC can refuse the search until 2 independent panchas come. 2 panchas are very, very important. Department will not start the search. And normally क्या होता है, हर एक आदमी सोचता है मेरे यहाँ रेड है, पड़ोसी को क्यों मालूम पड़े. तो ही वो क्या ड्राइवर को, बिल्डिंग का लिफ्टमैन, सुपरवाइजर उसको बुलाएगा और उसको बुलाएगा ये पंचा है. और प्रॉब्लम क्या होता है, वो रेट समटाइम इट गोज ऑन फॉर 2 years, 2 days, 3 days. और जब तक वो 3 दिन के बाद कंक्लूजन आता है, वो पंचा देश चला गया है. सो पंचा शुड बी प्रेजेंट फ्रॉम बिगिनिंग टू एंड. दे आर लाइक ए पंच परमेश्वर. टुमारो इफ यू फाइल एनी डिट्रेक्शन के डिपार्टमेंट ने दादागिरी करके ये किया है मेरा, आई नथिंग वाज फाउंड, or he said they brought some paper from outside, or any allegation that my ladies staff are not allowed to go home, they were taken away all the mobile, and ladies were not allowed to take the call. At home they were in panic. So under pressure I made a declaration whatever they wanted. Of course new act में तो declaration का provision ही नहीं है. If you want to declare, can declare. Department cannot ask. But in that situation, if pancha whatever they will say, that will be accepted. So pancha should be reputed person. If your relative, it is better you can call from some 2-3 kilometers away also, you can call them. Or neighbor, or not like watchman or somebody's liftman, aisa aadmi, this will not be pancha. SSC have right to female search conducted by women, मैंने बात बता दिया. Statement recorded can be verified by the SSC before signing the same. SSC can continue normal activity, however, it should not be abstained from the such proceeding. So whatever statement recorded, you have right to read. You can take 2 hours, the department cannot stop. Sometimes what happens, they only raise the question, they only write the answer. And simply take our signature. And after 4 days, you take the Xerox copy of the statement, and then you read, you say, ऐसा मैं बोला ही नहीं था, किधर से आ गया. So आप वो टाइम पे ही पढ़ो, और कुछ भी होगा तो उसको बोलो मैं करेक्शन करो. You are recording my statement. So whatever I say, you to write that. पर उतना हिम्मत होना चाहिए क्लाइंट में, और ये हिम्मत कभी आता है, if you read it 2-3 times, then you know everything what is to be done. पर फर्स्ट टाइम तो आदमी के दिमाग में टेंशन होता है, साला जितना जल्दी मेरे घर से निकले आदमी. So, but even then, what you sign, you must read properly. इसके लिए मैं बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग बात बताता हूँ आपको. One of my client, he was raided. Raid was going on for a few days. They separated half truckload of paper, milk builder, more than 50 firms, having turnover of thousands of crores. Department said, we want to take these papers. So you provide me trunk, लोहे का बड़ा बड़ा पेटी. My client say, you raid, conducted raid. You want to take the paper. So why I provide you the trunk? You make arrangement your. मैं आपको खाली चाय कॉफी खाना खिलाऊंगा, इसके अलावा मैं कुछ करने वाला नहीं हूँ. ठीक है. तो उन्होंने बोला अवर बजट इज ओनली 9 रुपये पर ट्रंक. तो उन्होंने गिन्नी बोरी, जो बोरी होती है जिसमें गेहूँ वगैरह आता है, व्हाट इज कॉल्ड, जूट का बोरी, दे कॉल्ड द बोरी, 100 बोरी, एंड डम्प द पेपर इन दो बोरी, सील्ड इट, और पंचनामा बनाया. बोरी द गनी बैग फ्रॉम नंबर 1 to 98. और हमारे क्लाइंट को बोला साइन करो. ही बोला सर दिस इज नॉट वे ऑफ टेकिंग द पेपर. दे आर बाई एग्रीमेंट ऑफ प्रॉपर्टी वर्थ hundreds and hundreds of crore रुपी. और इफ यू टेक पेपर लाइक दिस, and by 150 cases are going on the court. More than 20 building is under construction. Thousands of flats are sold by me. And in case tomorrow I need some agreement, how I will take that agreement? कौन सी बोली में मैं ढूंढेगा उसको? So what they suggested? So he said, sir, whatever each bag contain, take out the paper, write a serial number on that, make a proper list of all the files, make 3 copies, one put on the bag, second give to me, and third is for your file. So tomorrow I need any agreement, I know which page, which file number, which bag, what file contain. जैसे ऐसा करेगा तो 15 दिन लग जाएगा, और लगने दो 15 दिन के 20 दिन लगने दो, वो दिखे इस बार सेकंड रेट, so he knows what is there right. फर्स्ट रेट होता तो बोलता भागो, तो इससे सर लगने दो जितना लगेगा, मेरे को क्या प्रॉब्लम, आपको आई एम गिविंग यू 2 प्यून, आपका खाना पीना नाश्ता सब चालू है, एक प्यून और 2 असिस्टेंट आपको मिलता है मेरे ऑफिस से. दे सेट फॉर 15 days, मेक एक्चुअली इन द सेम वे. So he know now which file contain in which bag. So tomorrow he need paper, he can simply say, sir, file bag number 78, file number 10, उसका भी मेरे को पेज नंबर 101 से 130 चाहिए, बस तो फटाफट निकल सकता है. सो क्लाइंट शुड बी दैट टाइम थोड़ा कॉन्फिडेंस वाला होना चाहिए. Allow free and unhindered entry to the search party. See the warrant, इधर हो गया अपना. Ensure that the peace is maintained. Don't remove any article or its place. Don't try to destroy. In presence of the officer, don't try to destroy. कि वो बोलेगा ये डायरी किधर है, बताओ एक्सप्लेन, वो आज से खींच के बोलो फाड़ के फेंक देगा, वो नहीं करना चाहिए. दैट इज नॉट अलाउड. कमेंसमेंट ऑफ सर्च, मेरे क्लाइंट पे रेड आया था, इससे सर मेरे को बाथरूम जाने का है, ऑफिसर से आप जाओ लेकिन हमारा इंस्पेक्टर बाहर खड़ा रहेगा बाथरूम के बाहर, क्या बाथरूम से कहीं भाग नहीं जाओ आप. इसे नो प्रॉब्लम. वो भाई ने जाते जाते एक ब्रीफ केस उठाया रास्ते में, सर बाथरूम में लेके चले गए. बाथरूम में गया तो फ्लश का तो आवाज़ हर 5 मिनट में आ रहा है, वो तो बाहर ही नहीं आ रहा है. तो इंस्पेक्टर बाहर से बोल रहा भाई क्या हो गया, बोला साहब मेरे को टाइम लगने वाला है, आपको चेयर मंगा के बैठ जाओ आराम से. और उसने अंदर सब पेपर घुमा दिया. बाद में देखा तो खाली ब्रीफ केस पड़ा था अंदर. अभी डिपार्टमेंट का भी क्या एविडेंस है, वो रिकॉर्डिंग तो है नहीं कि कोई कर सकेगा. सो ये एक्चुअली एडवाइजेबल तो नहीं है, पर बहुत सारे लोग करते हैं. कमिटमेंट ऑफ सर्च, सी द वारंट, वेरीफाई द आइडेंटिटी ऑफ द मेंबर्स, कैरी आउट पर्सनल सर्च इनसाइड, ये मैंने आपको बता ही दिया पूरा. कॉल इंडिपेंडेंट रेस्पेक्टेड विटनेस, वो भी बड़ा बात हो ही गया है. दे आर द पंच परमेश्वर. इन केस ऑफ एनी प्रॉब्लम दे आर द मेन पर्सन. प्रिकॉशन टू बी टेकन विद रेफरेंस टू द सर्च वारंट, अपना बात हो ही गया. वारंट में फॉर एग्जाम्पल दे वांट टू रेट, एग्जाम्पल यही ले लेते हैं, केजे शर्मा. ना केजे शर्मा के नाम से एक बिल्डिंग में 3 आदमी हैं, फ्लैट नंबर लिखा नहीं है, वारंट आ गया. अभी केजे शर्मा 2nd फ्लोर पे भी है, 12th फ्लोर पे भी है, 22nd फ्लोर है. रेट डालने का 2nd फ्लोर वाले पे डाल दिया, 22 फ्लोर वाले पे. अभी 22 फ्लोर पे डाल दिया तो उसके तो बेचारे की दुनियादारी खुल गई. और रेट खत्म होने के बाद उसको मालूम पड़ा कि ये तो 2nd फ्लोर पे डालने का, मेरे से किधर आ गया. देन रेमेडी अवेलेबल इज ही कैन फाइल ए रिट पिटिशन. रिट पिटिशन फाइल करेगा तो व्हाट विल हैपन, रेट विल बी टिकेटेड एज इनवैलिड, बट whatever found during the course of search will be taxed. तो मतलब क्या हो गया उसका, रेड हुआ, पेपर मिला, अनअकाउंटेड पेपर मिला, दो उसके ऊपर टैक्स उसको भरना ही है. रेड इज इनवैलिड. रेड इनवैलिड है तो डॉक्टर बोलता बाहर आके कि ऑपरेशन मेरा सक्सेसफुल हो गया एकदम, पर पेशेंट डाइड है. तो सक्सेसफुल को करना क्या है, पेशेंट ही मर गया. तो और सिमिलर वे समझो एक रेड आ गया कोई आदमी से मिस्टर शर्मा, उसका भी केएल शर्मा समझो. नाउ ही हैज गॉट 3 फ्लैट. ओ इंडिविजुअल अर्लियर केस में तो 3 अलग अलग केस शर्मा थे. ना इसमें केस शर्मा ऐसा है कि उसका खुद का 3 फ्लैट है, पर वारंट, और 3 फ्लैट किधर है, 5th फ्लोर, 15th फ्लोर, 25th फ्लोर. वारंट आया है 15th फ्लोर के लिए. दे कैन नॉट एंटर इन द 5th फ्लोर और 25th फ्लोर. दे इफ दे फील कि अरे उधर भी कुछ हो सकता है, दे टू ब्रिंग न्यू वारंट फॉर ईच प्रीमाइसेस. समझो एक आदमी पे फ्लैट में रेड आ गया, उसकी एक खटारा गाड़ी पड़ी है जो टायर भी जमीन में घुस गया था, लेकिन उसकी डिक्की में इनको डाउट है कि 2 डायरी रखता है ये आदमी हमेशा. और मेरा खुद के क्लाइंट पे रेड आया था एक बार, रहता था 3rd फ्लोर पे, नीचे खटारा गाड़ी, मतलब भिंगार में बेचोगे तो कोई लेगा नहीं, समथिंग लाइक दिस. टायर तो उसका था ही नहीं, और उसका बाकी पार्ट भी आधा जमीन के अंदर था. लेकिन पीछे जो डिक्की थी उसमें वो डायरिया रखता था, और डिपार्टमेंट गॉट इन्फॉर्मेशन कि डायरी वो डिक्की में मिलेगी. दे कैन नॉट टच द कार टिल दे ब्रिंग अनदर वारंट फॉर दैट, बिकॉज दैट इज नॉट पार्ट ऑफ द फ्लैट, दे आउटसाइड द फ्लैट. So each locker, every item, you need a separate warrant. Women can be checked only by the lady member, मैंने आपको बता दिया. Children can go to the school after the search, that is also over. If person is not well, then you can call the doctor. Or if person is really seriously not well, he can be admitted in the hospital. But before he go to hospital, उनका जेब वगैरह चेक कर लेगा. डॉक्टर कैन बी कॉल्ड एनी टाइम. और इसके लिए क्यों आया ये? आई रिमेंबर समवेयर इन 1990 देयर वाज अ रेड, मे बी 90 और 92. वन लेडी वाज प्रेग्नेंट. रिसर्च वाज नियर चर्चगेट रेलवे स्टेशन. ए पारसी फैमिली था. लेडी वाज प्रेग्नेंट. तो फैमिली मेंबर ओनली सेड कि सर मैडम को हॉस्पिटल जाने दो, आप चेक कर लो, कोई सामान लेके नहीं जा रही है. बिकॉज टुडे हर डेट एंड सी विल इनकम टैक्स खडूस ऑफिसर होगा. ही सेड नो, आई विल नॉट अलाउ. A lady delivered child at home. And end of the day, child died. उसके बाद में थोड़ा matter went to the Manmohan Singh ji. He was the finance minister at that time. Then he issued one circular, right and duties of the SSC. And then in those days what happened? Department used to take bangle of the lady and seize it, Mangal Sutra of the lady and seize it. And there was no system. Department आ गया, मैं सब आपको लेके जाएगा. Then Manmohan Singh issued one circular on 18th February 1994, circular number I think 1916, and they say married woman, whatever she is wearing, you cannot remove it. एक लेडी है साउथ इंडियन में या हमारे राजस्थान में 2 किलो गोल्ड लगा के घर में बैठती है. आप उसको बोल नहीं सकते एक भी आइटम उतारो. हाँ, लिस्ट बना लो, आपको बाद में टैक्स मारना मार दो, पर पहना हुआ ज्वेलरी नहीं निकाल सकते. अभी किसने मिनिमम ही पहना है, चेन है, बैंगल है और थोड़ा बहुत जो भी होता है. देन एटलीस्ट फॉर मैरिड वुमन अप टू 500 ग्राम गोल्ड ऑर्नामेंट डिपार्टमेंट कैन नॉट टच. अनमैरिड 250 ग्राम, मेल 100 ग्राम. अप टू दैट एक्सटेंट नथिंग कैन हैपन. और ये सर्कुलर मनमोहन सिंह साहब के, और उसके बाद में काफ़ी लिबरल हो गया. अदरवाइज क्या होता था, लेडीज शुड बी विक्टिम ऑफ दिस. मेल को तो मालूम है कितना कैश पड़ा है, कैसा एडजस्टमेंट क्या करने का, उसका दिमाग में 24 घंटा यही घूमता रहता है. ये प्रॉपर बिजनेसमैन है तो उधर रात को सोएगा तो ये समझेगा सुबह इनकम टैक्स वाला आने वाला है और मेरे को ये पूछने वाला है और मेरा जवाब क्या होएगा. उसके बाद उसको नींद आती है, नींद नहीं आएगी. बट लेडीज बेचारी सिंपल होती है. लेडी है हैबिट ऑफ सेविंग. आदमी के पास में समझो 200 रुपये है, 180 वो खर्च कर दिया है, तो बोल गया सारा 20 रुपये भी खर्च करके ही घर जाएगा, कड़का होकर जाएगा. लेडी सब्जी लेने को जाएगी, 2 रुपया बच्चा है और उसको लेकर आए 2 रुपये का भी धनिया लेने का है. सिविल से मैं 2 रुपया सेव कर लूँ, नहीं धनिया नहीं लेंगे तो क्या फ़र्क पड़ेगा, सब्जी तो बनने ही वाली है. सो धीरे धीरे वो 2 रुपया करके वॉटर मनी सी सेव. एंड वेन एवर सम वेडिंग कम इन द फैमिली, सी विल ब्रेक द बैंगल, बाय सम मोर गोल्ड, मेक ए नेकलेस. नेकलेस को तोड़ के और कुछ करेगी, वो हर शादी में कुछ उल्टा सुल्टा करती रहेगी. एंड दे आर नॉट हैविंग प्रॉपर रिकॉर्ड. So, or sometimes they keep money in FDR, which is not recorded anywhere. The lady only knows, nobody other knows. So they are the main victim. So उसके लिए मनमोहन सिंह साहब ने काफ़ी लिबरल कर दिया था. Precaution to be taken while expending the jewelry. ज्वेलरी में कैसा होता है, हिंदुस्तान में जॉइंट फैमिली कंसेप्ट है. लेट अस इन माई केस, मेरे फैमिली में मेरी वाइफ का 500 ग्राम, मेरी डॉटर इन लॉ का 500 ग्राम, मेरा 100 ग्राम, मेरे बेटे का 100 ग्राम, मेरे ग्रैंडसन का 100 ग्राम, तो कितना हो गया 1300 ग्राम. इफ माई डॉटर इज ऑल्सो स्टेइंग विथ मी तो उसका 500 ग्राम और हो गया 1800. एंड सो टोटल यू काउंट ऑफ द फैमिली एंड फाइंड व्हाट इज टोटल फाउंड इन द फैमिली. नाउ लेट अस अज्यूम मेरी वाइफ के पास में 1500 ग्राम मिला, मेरी डॉटर इन लॉ के पास में 100 ग्राम भी नहीं मिला. सो एवरीथिंग इज टू बी काउंटेड. सो एक रूम का इट कैन गो टू अदर रूम, सेकंड रूम का इट कैन गो टू थर्ड रूम. तो अकॉर्डिंगली पूरा फैमिली का गोल्ड यू काउंट. And the 500 to 1500 is the minimum. A person who is working in my office as a peon, if his wife can have 500 gram, then definitely my wife can have 1000 gram. Gwalior Maharaja can have 10,000 gram. Mukesh Ambani can have 20,000 gram. So looking to the status of a person, it can increase or decrease. 500, 250, 100 is the minimum. ये सर्कुलर मैंने बोल ही दिया आपको पूरा. Presumption on the ownership under section 132(4)(a). What old act versus new act. New वाला रेड उस साइड का आ गया, और जो ब्लैक में है वो ओल्ड व्यू में सेम है. अब अज्यूम होगा वॉट एवर इज फाउंड ड्यूरिंग योर प्रोमाइसेस, रेजिडेंशियल होम और ऑफिस और वॉट एवर, दैट विल बी अज्यूम टू बी बिलोंग टू यू टिल यू प्रूव कॉन्ट्रेरी इट डिड नॉट बिलोंग टू मी. अपने घर में मिला है तो अपना ड्यूटी है, पर आपको प्रूव करने का कि इट डिड नॉट बिलोंग टू मी. सो अकॉर्डिंगली इसके बारे में पूरे सेक्शन है. मैं ज़्यादा टाइम नहीं लूँगा क्योंकि मैं सर्टन मेरे को केस तो आपको बता रहे हैं कि कौन सी रेड में व्हाट हैपन. सो इधर में आगे अपना कवर हो जाएगा. प्रिलिमिनरी स्टेटमेंट आते ही इनकम टैक्स वाला पूछेगा व्हाट इज योर प्लेस ऑफ बिजनेसेस. उनको मालूम है, सब स्टडी करके आया है. रेड सब जगह डालेगा जिस दिन रेड आएगी, बिकॉज 1985 में डिपार्टमेंट यूज्ड टू कंडक्ट 5000 पर रेड, और ऑफिसर कितने थे? 5 या 6. आज क्या पोजीशन है? डायरेक्टर जनरल, 2 DI, 10 DDI, 10 DG, एडिशनल DI, 40 DDI, फिर क्लिनिकल स्टाफ और इंस्पेक्टर. और पूरे साल में रेड कितना गिनता है? अप्रोक्सीमेट 100 पूरे बॉम्बे में. जो 5000 था कोई जमाने में इमरजेंसी के टाइम या 85 तक 100 रेड गिरता है पूरे साल के अंदर. पिछले साल तो 100 भी नहीं हुआ, 50 हुआ खाली. सो उसके पहले 113 था. सो दे डू होमवर्क एंड देन कम. आई सेड वंस दे डू कंप्लीट पोस्टमार्टम और लगेगा हाँ रेड का कैंडिडेट है तो ही आएगा. लेकिन समझो कि आपका फाइल तो बन गया, वो रिपोर्ट में 100 करोड़ से कम आ गया, और दैट टाइम दे डिसाइडेड कि रेड नहीं डालने का है, बाय नॉट फिट केस. तो ये मत समझो कि आपका फाइल वो डिपार्टमेंट फाड़ के फेंकने वाला है. वो स्टोरेज में तो चला गया, कोल्ड स्टोरेज में, और जब भी वापस बाहर फाइल आ सकता है. सो एक बार रिपोर्ट बन गया तो डिस्ट्रॉय नहीं होने वाला है. वो DDI के विंग में आपका परमानेंट नाम रजिस्टर हो गया एक बार, वो कभी खुलेगा वो गॉड नोस. तो वो टाइम पे डिपार्टमेंट आके पहले पूछेगा ड्यूरिंग द कोर्स ऑफ सर्च, प्लेस ऑफ बिजनेस कितने हैं, लोकेशन ऑफ फैक्ट्रीज आपकी कहाँ कहाँ पे है, आपके बैंक में लॉकर कितने हैं, कैश, ज्वेलरी, अदर वैल्यूएबल इन द हाउस, रिसेंट मैरिज टेकन प्लेस इन द फैमिली, एनी एसेट बिलोंग टू सम अदर पर्सन लाइंग इन योर प्लेस. सो पहले ही आप बोल देंगे तो कि मेरी बेटी का ससुराल लखनऊ में है, उसकी ज्वेलरी हमारे घर में ही पड़ी है. माई मदर इज इन राजस्थान बट हर ज्वेलरी लाएंगे विथ मी. सो दैट ऑल यू टू टेल इन एडवांस तो दैट इट विल बी एक्सेप्टेड के बराबर बोल रहे हैं. आइटम विच कैन बी सीज अनअकाउंटेड के. अच्छा, डिपार्टमेंट जो आता है आपका बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट देखने को नहीं आता है. ही कम्स टू फाइंड आउट अनअकाउंटेड ज्वेलरी, अनअकाउंटेड कैश, अनअकाउंटेड इन्वेस्टमेंट, अनअकाउंटेड एक्सपेंडिचर. उनका नज़र उधर रहेगा. और ये 4 चीज जब तक अप टू 100 करोड़ उनको नहीं मिलता है, दे विल बी ऑलवेज इन द टेंशन. क्योंकि एक ऑफिसर इफ कीप गो टू द 2 रेड एंड बोथ प्लेसेस इज नॉट सक्सेसफुल, गेट लेस देन 100 करोड़, देन 6 महीने में उसका ही ट्रांसफर होने वाला है. तो 100 आप पहले बहुत बार बोलते हैं क्लाइंट साहब इधर ही पटा दो, नहीं ले दे के खत्म करो. जब तक उसका 100 करोड़ का टारगेट नहीं होएगा वो कोई पटाने के मूड में ही नहीं रहेगा, उसका दिमाग ही काम नहीं करेगा, वो उसको उसका ट्रांसफर दिखेगा. 100 करोड़ का मिनिमम आपको लेना ही है. और एक बार आपको यहाँ तक भी बोलेगा कि एक बार डिक्लेयर कर दो, 2 दिन बाद रिटक्शन करना, मैं ही आपको ड्राफ्ट बना के दूंगा, पर एक बार 100 करोड़ करो तो मेरा कल्याण हो जाए. बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स, डायरीज, कंप्यूटर हार्ड डिस्क, डेटा स्टोरेज. कंप्यूटर हार्ड डिस्क में सबसे बड़ा काम है अप टू 31 मार्च 2026 एक्सेल सीट, व्हाट्सएप चैट, ईमेल नोट्स, डिपार्टमेंट वाज नॉट अलाउड टू रिलाई ऑन दैट. बट 1 अप्रैल 2026 न्यू एक्ट में these are all the evidences. Department can rely on that. Excel sheet मिला, just you must be knowing it. There was one big case of rubber wala. On money was paid. 800 cases were reopened. अभी तो सब खत्म ही हो गए. There what happened? Department had a party. What department found at the rubber wala case? Excel sheet of 800 parties who purchased the shop in near Bombay Central. Area of each shop was 80-90 square feet. And he maintained records so up to date, whatever cash is received, same day, same amount check received. समझो I purchased the property worth say 50,000 rupees per square feet and shop मेरा 100 फुट का, तो 50 लाख का पेमेंट हुआ है, 25 लाख कैश देना है, 25 चेक देना है. I given check of 5 lakh, cash of 5 lakh, second day cash check, 100% tallied. Excel sheet was found, चेक का भी ट्रांजेक्शन है, कैश का भी ट्रांजेक्शन है. बट व्हाट हैपन, अप टू 31 March 26 एक्सेल सीट कैन नॉट बी रिलाइड. तो टेबल में हर एक को रिलीफ मिल गया कि ऑल बेस्ड इज ओनली एक्सेल सीट, व्हाट एल्स इज देयर. एक्सेल सीट में नहीं हो सकता है. एक्सेल सीट के साथ में सपोर्टिंग डॉक्यूमेंट भी हो गए, समझो कैश भी मिल गया साथ में एक्सेल सीट के साथ. देन डिपार्टमेंट नीड अप्रूवल अंडर सेक्शन 65 ऑफ एविडेंस एक्ट, दैट नो ऑफिसर हैज डन दैट. सो दैट गवर्न ऑल्सो एसएससी फेल, डिपार्टमेंट फेल, SEC succeeded. And practically all cases of all builder, wherever unaccounted money was paid, a raid on a builder, it is found that this man had paid this much money for purchase of the flat. All cases were allowed by the tribunal. Now तो भी CIT भी allow करता है, but tribunal ने तो 100% allow कर दिया. They want to seize the jewelry, they to make a proper inventory. आप देखो old पंचनामा, gold ornament consist of 200 ग्राम, अभी उसको पूरा लिखना पड़ेगा, एक एक आइटम का डिस्क्रिप्शन, वेट, ग्रॉस वेट, नेट वेट, गोल्ड है कि सिल्वर है कि क्या है, फुल डिस्क्रिप्शन भी रिटर्न. 3 कॉपी बनेगा, एक इसके साथ लगे डिपार्टमेंट रखेगा अपने पेपर में, एक क्लाइंट को देगा और एक वो ज्वेलर से वैल्यूएशन रिपोर्ट आएगा उससे टैली करने के लिए रखेगा. सिमिलर वे इन अदर डॉक्यूमेंट्स आर फाउंड, कैश इज फाउंड, प्रॉपर इन्वेंटरी विल बी मेड. भाई 500 का नोट कितना है, 200 का कितना है, 100 का कितना है, हाउ मेनी नंबर ऑफ नोट, सो कंप्लीटली एनालिसिस आ जाएगा. आइटम विच कैन नॉट बी सीज, वो अपने लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. बहुत बार क्लाइंट टेंशन में आके पूछते हैं, स्टॉक हेल्ड इन द बिजनेस, गोल्ड है, सिल्वर है, डायमंड है, प्लेटिनम है, नथिंग कैन बी सीज्ड प्रोवाइडेड इट इज पार्ट ऑफ योर स्टॉक. आइटम डिस्कस इन इनकम टैक्स एंड वेल्थ टैक्स रिटर्न, यू हैव सोन द ज्वेलरी वर्थ से 3000 ग्राम इन द वेल्थ टैक्स रिटर्न. सोर्स है नहीं है वो बात की बात है, पर इफ यू ऑलरेडी डिक्लेयर्ड इन वेल्थ टैक्स रिटर्न इट कैन नॉट बी सीज्ड. Item appearing in the books of accounts, whatever is appearing in books of accounts, rightly or wrongly, that verification can take place later on, cannot be seized by the department. Cash for which explanation can be given. मेरा 1 करोड़ रुपया कैश फाउंड है, रेड आया था फर्म ए, इन फर्म ए माई कैश अपियर एज एट 10 लाख रुपये. तो डिपार्टमेंट नॉर्मली क्या अज्यूम के 90 लेके आउट ऑफ बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट, बट आई हैव 20 फर्म्स देयर. कैशियर इज कॉमन, एनी कैश कम विद गो टू दैट कैशियर. Any cash is to be taken by 20 firms, they take from that particular cashier. So all jewelry, all cash to be counted of all the firm. And if that can take care of the cash found, nothing can be seized. So that also can be explained there. Jewelry mentioned in the wealth tax return, मैंने बोल ही दिया. Gold 500, 250, 100 बात हो ही गया. Jewelry as per status of a person, अपना बात हो ही गया. Prohibitory order under 132(3), where it is not practical to seize books of other documents, money, bullion, jewelry, asset, bank locker, bank account. Assets, bank locker and bank bullion is added in new act. Other valuable article or thing, order served on the person in possession of the above, such person is directed not to part with the item. So these items can be put under prohibitory order. You do your homework after the search is over, call them. और मीन टाइम तो क्या होता है, once raid is over, all officers become, they are also human, so they become your friend, or we become their friend, और accordingly आधा प्रॉब्लम तो ऐसे ही खत्म हो जाता है. तो ट्राई करो कि जितना आपको लगे कि ये आइटम 100% डाउटफुल है थोड़ा भी, और दी आई विल बी एबल टू एक्सप्लेन आफ्टर टॉकिंग टू माई अकाउंटेंट और CA, उसको प्रोबेटरी ऑर्डर में डाल दो. दे आस्क द क्वेश्चन, आपको लगेगा क्लियर कट आंसर है, बता दो, पर आपको लगेगा आंसर देने से मेरा मल्टीपल प्रॉब्लम चालू होगा जाएगा. Sir, I am not in proper mind, I will not explain today, I will give you reply after going through the paper. I will consult my chartered accountant and reply. उसके बाद भी नहीं माने तो sir, I don't remember. If you don't remember now, you can always remember later on. आप अभी जबरदस्ती में हाँ ना कुछ बोल देंगे तो then आपका, because this statement is under section 131, ओथ के अंदर स्टेटमेंट हो जाएगा जिसको रिटर्न करने के लिए काफ़ी टाइम लगेगा, आपको मेहनत करना पड़ेगा. So that time simply you say sir, I don't remember. पहली बार रेड आया, मैं बहुत टेंशन में हूँ, मेरे को समझ ही नहीं आ रहा है क्या हो रहा है क्या नहीं हो रहा है. सो आई एम नॉट इन माई प्रॉपर सेंसेस, आई विल रिप्लाई लेटर ऑन. तो दैट वे यू कैन पोस्टपोन द लाइबिलिटी. वंस यू पोस्टपोन, बाद में 50 सस्ता निकलेगा. प्रोहिबिटरी ऑर्डर अपना बात हो ही गया पूरा डिटेल में. बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स, अदर डॉक्यूमेंट्स सर्व्ड ऑन ऑर्डर ऑफ द ओनर. इफ इट इज ए प्रोहिबिटरी ऑर्डर इशूड अंडर सेक्शन 3 ऑफ सेक्शन 132 ऑफ द एक्ट in respect of current account of the search person, whether current account में prohibitory order लगा सकता है. If you are not deposited any money which is not accounted, then you cannot, department cannot put prohibitory order on current account because they are part of your business. Whole idea of the department is not to disturb your business. अगर आपका business disturb होगा तो what will happen? You will not work, your profit will not there. If there is no business, business is disturbed, my income will be not there. If my income is not there, I will not pay tax to the government. So their income will also be not there. So they don't want to disturb. Past में ऐसा हुआ था 2-4 बार. They were shop in a Javri Bazaar. One person had a ground floor में gold department, first floor में diamond department. And at the stock he was having 12,000 carat diamond. And during the course of the business, question was asked to that person कि भाई आपका डायमंड का स्टॉक कितना है? ही से भाई 12,000. द बुक्स बोले से लास्ट ईयर का ओपनिंग कितना है? ही से 9,000. शो मी द बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स. ही से बुक्स आर लाइंग विद मिस्टर विमल पुर्मिया फॉर द पर्पज ऑफ टैक्स ऑडिट. They called me but not made any inquiry, and later on while doing the assessment they were assumed कि stock of the diamond is 0 and everything is unaccounted and 12,000 carat diamond लेके चला गया. To get the back it took 10 years. 10 years तक diamond department was closed. Expenditure were on, staff, everything was on, and later on what happened? He was incurring losses for 10 years. So अगला 5 साल में भी टैक्स नहीं भर सका. End of the day, who was the loser? Department. SSC of course is a loser, but department also is a loser. 15 साल तक उसको टैक्स नहीं मिला डायमंड डिपार्टमेंट का. So after that law was amended कि stock in trade cannot be disturbed, stock cannot be seized, current account if unaccounted money is not deposited in the current account cannot be touched. उसके judgment है. Panchanama, what is written, that very clear, who officer have come, what have panchaj, who was the party. और बाद में कभी भी असेसमेंट होंगे, देन यू कैन से रेड अभी किस पे हुआ, घर में फैमिली मेंबर 40 है, रेड इज ओनली ऑन द 5%. सो दोज 5 केसेस विल बी सब्जेक्ट टू द सर्च असेसमेंट. रिमेनिंग विल गो इन अदर कैटेगरी. सो दैट पर्पज ऑल्सो पंचनामा इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. पंचनामा कॉपी मस्ट बी ऑब्टेन फ्रॉम द पार्टी. इन्वेंट्री कॉपी मस्ट बी ऑब्टेन. what document they are paper inventory they are taking. Copy of the document seized, make application to furnish copy. Copy of the statement, make application to furnish copy. Factual error, valuing stock, inventory, write immediately to the concerned officer. Goods of the perishable nature, keep under prohibitory order, ask to release immediately. In case of seizure of the case, ask adjustment against the tax liability. Disposal of assets seized relating to the sale of the tax department. Now, perishable item, when they put under prohibitory order, tell them ये आइटम खराब हो जाएगा. अदरवाइज सेम डे राइट लेटर टू द कमिश्नर कि मेरा रिलीज करो. अभी एक फ्रूट का गोडाउन को उन्होंने सील कर दिया एक बार. अभी फ्रूट तो 15-20 दिन में खराब हो गया. वो लोगों ने खोला ही नहीं उधर. हमने केस फाइल किया, मेरे क्लाइंट है, और कंपनसेशन वाज गिवन टू अस कि इतना ऑफिसर जो इनकम टैक्स ऑफिसर है जिसको 10 साल 20 साल का एक्सपीरियंस है, उतना समझ तो होना चाहिए कि फ्रूट अंदर पड़ा तो आम खराब होने वाला है या एप्पल खराब होने वाला है, अनलिमिटेड नहीं रहने वाला है. तो उसको सील करने का मतलब क्या? तो देन गवर्नमेंट हैज टू पे मनी बैक टू अस. डैमेज फाइल पिटीशन फॉर लॉस ऑफ एक्शन ऑफ टैक्स ऑफिसर. रिट्रैक्शन विदाउट, कोई भी चीज़ आपको लगे दादागिरी से कर लिया तो इमीडिएट रिट्रैक्ट करो. रिट्रैक्ट करके ट्राई करो, उसके सामने ही फाइल करो वापस. और अगर रीजनेबल टाइम में आपको डर लगता है कि जो ऑफिसर ने रेट डाला अभी वो दोस्त हो गया है, उसके सामने कैसा मैं लिखूं, तो एटलीस्ट बना के नोटरी पब्लिक के सामने साइन करके या मजिस्ट्रेट के सामने एफिडेविट बना के अपने पास रखो. अप्रोप्रिएट टाइम पे इनकम टैक्स में दे देना. हालांकि वो थोड़ा लेट हो जाएगा, बट इवन देन इट इज ओके. If any valuable or document third party is seized, then party cannot make an application for the release and claim the ownership. 13, in response to the summons, attend and answer the question. अभी यहाँ पे बताता हूँ. आपको कोई समन देता है वो टाइम 131 का कि वी आर नाउ वी आर गोइंग टू रिकॉर्ड योर स्टेटमेंट एंड यू गिव योर स्टेटमेंट. देन इफ यू रिमेंबर गिव द रिपोर्ट. बहुत बार क्या होता है, आदमी इतना पैनिक हो जाता है. मुझे एक बार याद है, एक बहुत बड़ा डॉक्टर था जस्तोक हॉस्पिटल का, ही वाज रेडेड, एंड दैट टाइम आई वाज वर्किंग विद वन एडवोकेट फ्रॉम डी मरीसन कंपनी. तो डॉक्टर साहब पहले दिन तो रेड हुआ, सीए वाज नॉट अलाउड. सेकंड डे डॉक्टर साहब को उसने बोला यू कम टू अवर आयकर भवन. दैट टाइम रेड डिपार्टमेंट वाज इन आयकर भवन 4th floor एंड वी वांट टू रिकॉर्ड योर स्टेटमेंट. So doctor came to our office and Mr. D. Maris called me कि पुन्मिया you go with the doctor साहब, and he is very बहुत बड़ा डॉक्टर है लेकिन ये इनकम टैक्स का पहला काम पड़ा है तो टेंशन में आ गया है. तो डॉक्टर साहब ने, मैं गया उसके साथ. आयकर भवन में जाने के बाद ग्राउंड फ्लोर में डॉक्टर साहब बोलते पुर्मिया आई विल स्टे इन द कार, यू गो अप। बोला डॉक्टर साहब आपका स्टेटमेंट है, 131 का स्टेटमेंट है। तो मैं उसको कैसा भी करके 4 माला लेके गया। 4 माला जाने के बाद ऑफिसर के केबिन के बाहर बैठ गया डॉक्टर साहब, बोला अंदर आप जाओ। तो मैं गया अंदर, ऑफिसर को मैंने बोला साहब ये डॉक्टर है, बहुत बड़ा डॉक्टर है और पहली बार रेड हुआ है, घबर गया है पूरा, तो आप इसको ज़्यादा सवाल जवाब नहीं करना और थोड़ा शॉर्टकट में पटा देना, बाद में 1-2 दिन बाद अपन करेंगे जो करने का है। तो ऑफिसर भी भला आदमी था बेचारा, बोला ठीक है। तो मैं डॉक्टर साहब को अंदर लेके गया। बाहर ही मेरे को डॉक्टर ने बोला पुर्मिया आई विल नॉट ओपन माई माउथ, यू टू रिप्लाई टू एवरी क्वेश्चन। मिस्टर हरीश टोल्ड मी दैट पुर्मिया विल टेक केयर ऑफ फुल थिंग। मैं बोला आप चलो तो सही अंदर। अंदर गया तो उसको पूछा डॉक्टर साहब व्हाट इज योर नेम? पुर्मिया नोज। वेयर यू स्टे? पुर्मिया नोज। हाउ मेनी चिल्ड्रंस यू हैव? पुर्मिया नोज। तो ऐसा जवाब देके भी पर्पस सर्व होने वाला नहीं है, वी हैव टू गिव प्रॉपर रिप्लाई। और आज उस दिन तो उसने हो गया खत्म। फिर डॉक्टर साहब को मैं सेकंड डे लेके गया, थर्ड डे लेके गया, फोर्थ डे डॉक्टर साहब का फोन आया, पुर्मिया यू विल इवन यू कम लिटिल लेट, आई हैव नो प्रॉब्लम, आई विल हैंडल इट। तो कितना उसको कॉन्फिडेंस आ गया एक्चुअली। तो जब तक आप क्लाइंट को समझाएंगे नहीं व्हाट आर देयर राइट, व्हाट आर देयर ड्यूटीज, सिमिलर वे एसएससी का, डिपार्टमेंट का, जब तक वो क्लाइंट पैनिक में रहेगा कि सारा कोई यमदूत आ गया मेरे को लेने को, क्या होने का आया। Discuss with the consultant, cooperate with the department, removing valuable book, document, noting, diary, so don't do that. Mislead on the facts, try to destroy the books, document, मतलब एज पर लॉ ये नहीं करना चाहिए, बाकी तो सिचुएशन कैसा है उस पर डिपेंड करेगा। Appraisal depend upon the internal. Appraisal report is the summary of the whole raid. That is the main item. And that is a really very, very, very confidential paper. But इनकम टैक्स वाले को बाद में मिलता है, एसएससी को पहले मिलता है। तो इतना कॉन्फिडेंशियल है कि वो कॉन्फिडेंशियल मतलब बोलने के लिए बहुत अच्छा कॉन्फिडेंशियल है। एंड दैट इज योर बाउंड्री ऑफ द केस। और इट विल गो टू द कमिश्नर देन कम टू द आईटीओ, बट वो डीडीए से कमिश्नर के पास जाता है, उसके अंदर ही उसकी कॉपियाँ बन जाती है। एंड अप्रेजल रिपोर्ट इज द बेसिस फॉर मेकिंग एडिशन। एक बार अप्रेजल रिपोर्ट में समथिंग इज रिटर्न, एडिशन आपका होने वाला है, ऐसा समझ के चलना चाहिए। इफ यू फील कि वो एडिशन नहीं होना चाहिए, रॉन्ग है, तो उसको कट करने के लिए लोहे के साथ लोहे को लगाना काटना पड़ेगा, स्ट्रॉन्ग सबमिशन आपको बनाना पड़ेगा ऑन फैक्ट्स, ऑन लॉ, एंड देन ऑफ कोर्स दैट कैन टेक केयर ऑफ, एंड उसके बाद में आपका गाड़ी अच्छा चलेगा। अदरवाइज अप्रेजल रिपोर्ट इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। अभी सर्च खत्म हो गया, एनालिसिस के बाद में वैलिडिटी ऑफ सर्च। नाउ सर्च की वैलिडिटी कैसे चेंज होगी? फर्स्ट, व्हाट इज द assumption in the search? If he issues summon to the party, party will not reply. If department already issued summon to us and we have not replied, so it is all assumption. I just assume कि if I send the letter to so and so person, वो आदमी रिप्लाई देने वाला ही नहीं है, और वो देने वाला नहीं देने वाला बाद में मालूम पड़ेगा, बट इट विल बी assumption. So authority must have information, वो होना चाहिए। Information, reason to believe is not suspect. रीजन इंफॉर्मेशन क्या होना चाहिए? इसके पास 2 नंबर का इतना पैसा हो सकता है, लेकिन वो बेस उसका पक्का होना चाहिए। मैं ऐसा ही अज्यूम करूं कि रोज आदमी 5 स्टार होटल में खाना खाता है, इसके बाद में 50 लाख रुपए होएगा कम से कम, दैट अजम्पशन विल नॉट डू। सो ऑथोरिटी मस्ट हैव इंफॉर्मेशन, रीजन टू बिलीव एंड नॉट टू सस्पेक्ट. इट मस्ट बी इंफॉर्मेशन एंड नॉट रूमर और गॉसिप. इंफॉर्मेशन मस्ट एग्जिस्ट प्योर टू ऑथराइजेशन. ऑथराइजेशन रेट का साइन होने के पहले इंफॉर्मेशन होना चाहिए, बाद में शामिल आएगा कुछ काम का नहीं है. रीजन टू बिलीव मस्ट हैव रीजनेबल बिलीव बिटवीन connection to information substantially and satisfactory note. So along with the warrant, satisfactory note बनता है. Satisfactory note will give a reason why person is candidate is the correct candidate for search. And satisfactory note is based on the information and satisfaction, reasonable satisfaction, which is not cannot be rumor or gossip or other item. If you can challenge that, and High Court take a rate is invalid, there was no information or not satisfactory note or not this or not that, then rate will be treated as invalid. But during the course of search, anything is found, that will be taxed. तो invalid करके भी फायदा कुछ नहीं हुआ. अभी ये बहुत सारे जजमेंट है, I will skip the judgment actually. लूज पेपर मिलते हैं बहुत बार, like this say, please give 25,000 kg to Chotu. अभी 25,000 kg वॉट, इसका मतलब है 25,000 रुपये या 25 लाख रुपये. डिपार्ट विल अज्यूम दैट, बट देयर नंबर ऑफ जजमेंट डिपार्ट हैव टू प्रूव. अभी एक्चुअली प्रॉब्लम क्या आता है, इफ आपका ट्रांजेक्शन खाली कैश का ही है, यू कैन ऑलवेज से डिड नॉट पेपर बिलोंग टू मी, इट इज नॉट इन माई हैंड राइटिंग, आई हैव नॉट साइन इट, आई डोंट नो एनीथिंग अबाउट पेपर. प्रॉब्लम कभी होता है आधा ट्रांजेक्शन चेक का है, आधा कैश का है, और चेक वाला ट्रांजेक्शन बैंक से टैली होता है, देन प्रॉब्लम स्टार्ट्स. एक जितेंद्र फिल्म स्टार था, उसके यहाँ पे रेड आया तो 2 डायरी मिले. डिपार्टमेंट आज द क्वेश्चन जितेंद्र को या उसकी वाइफ को, शोभा को, कि भाई व्हाट इज दिस. इससे बोला 2 शूटिंग के बीच में वेन एवर इज फ्री ही मेक फोटोग्राफ ऑफ डॉग, सन, मून, स्टार, वो कुछ भी करते रहता है बैठ के. कभी गाय का फोटो बनाएगा, कभी कुत्ते का फोटो बनाएगा, दैट समथिंग लाइक समथिंग. देन वन प्लेस इन डायरी इट वाज फाउंड 2 स्टार कैश, 2 स्टार चेक, B.R. चोपड़ा. और वो डेट को B.R. चोपड़ा से 20,000 रुपये आया था. इसका मतलब 1 स्टार इक्वल टू 10,000. ITO ने तो भाई ने सब पूरा दोनों डायरी का 200-300 स्टार गिना, काउंट किया, मल्टीप्लाई बाय 10,000 और इनकम टैक्स में 200 करोड़ रुपया ऐड कर दिया. In those days, before 2021, one settlement commission was there. And they had wide power. कुछ भी कर सकते थे, उनको इतना पावर था. 3 चीफ कमिश्नर यूज्ड टू सिट देयर आफ्टर रिटायरमेंट, जो ऑलरेडी हैव 30 ईयर एक्सपीरियंस. एंड केस भी ओल्ड है, 1985 का केस था. तो सेटलमेंट कमीशन ने बोला यार 1 स्टार इक्वल टू 10,000 बहुत बड़ा फिगर हो जाता है. 1 स्टार इक्वल टू 1,000 इज फेयर. तो 1,000 करके 200 स्टार को मल्टीप्लाई करके उसको 20 करोड़ पे टैक्स लगा दिया. अभी मैं मन में सोचूं कि साला अगर 10,000 लिखा है डायरी में तो 1,000 कैसे हो सकता है, 0 हो सकता है. बोलेगा नहीं ऐसे ही लिख दिया होगा, कुछ भी हो गया होगा. लेकिन दैट पावर सेटलमेंट कमीशन है, नो पेनल्टी, नो प्रोसिक्यूशन, नो इंटरेस्ट. Even in those days, they had a power to give direction to other central government agencies कि इनका कोई भी रीओपन मत करो ये इशू के ऊपर. सो दैट वे नाउ 21 के बाद सेटलमेंट कमीशन खत्म हो गया है. सो नो यूज ऑफ डिस्कशन फॉर दैट पॉइंट नाउ. लूज पेपर फाउंड ड्यूरिंग द कोर्स ऑफ सर्च टू बी ट्रीटेड एज ए डम्प डॉक्यूमेंट. नाउ एक बार कोई भी पेपर मिला तो आप उसको बोल सकते हैं डम्प डॉक्यूमेंट है. अपने बोलने से तो मानेगा नहीं, यू टू प्रूव इट. इसके लिए मैं एग्जाम्पल बताऊँ. मेरे ऑफिस में एक बार क्लाइंट आया था दिल्ली का. वो क्लाइंट ने कुछ कैलकुलेशन करना था कैपिटल गेन, 13, 14, 15 करोड़ रुपए का ट्रांजेक्शन्स थे. एंड ही केम टू मी एंड इसे मेरे को कैपिटल गेन का वर्किंग करके दो. तो कुछ मेरे को ज़्यादा समझना था तो मैंने उसका पेपर ले लिया एंड मैंने बोला घर जाके आराम से करूँगा. बिफोर आई गो होम आई वेंट टू वन ज्वेलर्स ऑफिस, किशोर कुमार बिंजी जवेरी. और उधर कुछ मेरे को काम से बैग खोलना पड़ा तो मेरा वो पेपर किशोर भाई के ऑफिस में रह गया. सेकेंड डे मॉर्निंग आई वॉन्टेड टू सर्च द पेपर, पेपर था ही नहीं. मेरे क्लाइंट को फ़ोन किया, दूसरा कॉपी मंगा लिया और उसका काम हो गया. 6 महीने बाद किशोर भाई के यहाँ रेड आ गया और मेरा वही कागज जो मैं छोड़ के गया था उधर मिल गया. वो क्वेश्चन बार बार किशोर भाई को पूछ रहा है, ये 13 करोड़ क्या है, 12 करोड़ क्या है. मैं सोचता हूँ किशोर भाई का ट्रांजेक्शन नहीं था, उसको बेचारे को मालूम नहीं है. और मैं मन में सोचता था साला ये वही कागज जो मैं छोड़ के गया था 3 महीने पहले. और मैं चुप करके बैठा कि मैं बोलूँगा तो मैं चक्कर में आ जाएगा वापस. तो एंड में इट वॉज ट्रीटेड एज डंप डॉक्यूमेंट. तो डंप डॉक्यूमेंट आपके हाइटराइटिंग में नहीं है, अर्थमेटिकल. अपना सीए के ऑफिस में सुबह से शाम तक 10 आदमी आते हैं. मेरे यहाँ पे तो 10 क्या 15 आते होंगे. सब कैपिटल गेन का वर्किंग करने को ही आते हैं. और कभी पेपर छोड़ के जाता है, कभी बोलता है काम भी हो गया विमल भाई तमें रखो, कुछ प्रॉब्लम थसे तो तुम्हारा रेफरेंस मारे जोसे. और वो जोसे करते करते पेपर मेरे पास परमानेंट रह गया. तो डंप, सो सच पेपर इज कॉल्ड डंप डॉक्यूमेंट. और उसमें आप जीत सकते हैं. लेकिन हमेशा क्लाइंट को एडवाइस करो, फर्स्ट तो एडवाइस करो कि 2 नंबर का काम मत करो. लेकिन कुछ बिजनेस में प्रैक्टिकल नहीं है, देन यू टू से सर कि 2 नंबर हो, 1 नंबर को अलग अलग रखो, मिक्स मत करो. द मोमेंट आप मिक्स करेंगे डूब जाएंगे. इलेक्ट्रॉनिक मटेरियल विदाउट कोरोबरेटिंग एविडेंस टू बी ट्रीटेड एज डंप डॉक्यूमेंट. अभी 1 अप्रैल के बाद 2026 के बाद इलेक्ट्रॉनिक डॉक्यूमेंट कैन बी रिलाइड, बट स्टिल कोई ट्रांजेक्शन ही नहीं है तो डंप डॉक्यूमेंट ही है. एविडेंस तो होना ही चाहिए साथ साथ में. लूज पेपर आर इररिलेवेंट एंड एविडेंस आर नॉट एडमिसिबल. इंपॉर्टेंट केस लॉ रिलेटिंग टू एडिशन बेस्ड ऑन दी डंप डॉक्यूमेंट. इनकम टैक्स में एक्चुअली डंप डॉक्यूमेंट एंड पीक थ्योरी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. पीक थ्योरी क्या होती है समझ, मेरे पास केस आता भी है. मैं एक केस के साथ ही बताऊँ. एक मेरा क्लाइंट था, ही हैड 23 पार्टनरशिप फर्म, 23 प्रोप्राइटरी फर्म. हर वो इनकम टैक्स को गिनता ही नहीं था. वेन एवर ही नीडेड चेक, रोकड़ा बैंक में भरता था, चेक इशू कर देता था. कभी किसी को कैश देने का बैंक से निकाल लेता था, दे देता था। इनकम टैक्स का रेट आ गया। ऑल 23 फर्म के अंदर, प्रोप्राइटरी फर्म, 23 पार्टनरशिप फर्म, सबके अंदर करोड़ों रुपए का कैश डिपॉजिट, करोड़ों रुपए का कैश विड्रॉल। टोटल लगाने को बैठे तो 450 करोड़ रुपया हुआ टोटल डिपॉजिट इन ऑल द बैंक अकाउंट। पर करस्पॉन्डिंग विड्रॉल भी था, पर हर एक अकाउंट का पीक बनाया तो 450 करोड़ आया। डिपॉजिट तो मोर देन 5000 करोड़ था, पर 450 करोड़ आया। हमने उधर कहा कि भाई मेरी फर्म है सब, आई एम द हेड ऑफ द फैमिली, जो भी कैश भरा है मैंने दिया, जो भी कैश निकाला है मैंने निकाला है। सो मैं मेरा बैंक अकाउंट बनाता हूं, मेरा कैश बुक बनाया, से मिस्टर ए कैश बुक, wherever money was deposited, I have shown as my deposit. I have given money to them and deposited. Wherever money withdrawn, I have taken credit of that. तो क्या हो गया, मेरा पीक घट के आ गया 15 करोड़ रुपए। जो ओरिजिनल डिपॉजिट था 500 करोड़ रुपया, इसके अंदर मेरा आ गया था करीब 45-40 करोड़ रुपया, इंडिविजुअल पीक ऑफ ऑल द फर्म। फाइनली मेरा पीक निकला 15 करोड़ रुपया। एंड 15 करोड़ रुपया मैंने ऑफर किया तो मेरे को 5 करोड़ रुपये पे टैक्स भरना पड़ा, 5 करोड़ का। क्यों हुआ वैसा? समझो फर्म ए है, I have deposited 1 crore, withdrawn second day, second 1 crore, 1 करोड़ अनएक्सपेंड हो गया मेरा, मेरे को टैक्स लगने वाला है। विड्रॉल का तो कोई बेनिफिट मिलने वाला नहीं है आगे। और दूसरी फर्म के अंदर जहाँ पे वापस डिपॉजिट किया है, वही 1 करोड़ इधर से घुमा के उधर भी ऐड होने वाला है, तो मेरा 2 करोड़ हो गया। अगर मैं इंडिविजुअल हूँ तो आई हैव डिपॉजिटेड 1 करोड़ मेरा अनअकाउंटेड है, विड्रॉल फ्रॉम दैट फर्म, डिपॉजिटेड इन सेकंड फर्म, तो मेरा अनअकाउंटेड कितना हो गया, 1 करोड़ ही हो गया इंस्टेड ऑफ 2 करोड़। तो पूरे ग्रुप का मैं देखूंगा तो ऑल विड्रॉल्स फ्रॉम वेरियस फर्म विल बी टेकन केयर ऑफ द क्रेडिट साइड ऑफ सम अनदर फर्म। सो वो क्लाइंट से ऐसा, तो पीक थ्योरी रियल में इनकम टैक्स में डिफाइंड नहीं है, पर वी चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट अंडरस्टैंड पीक थ्योरी बेटर देन एनी अदर पर्सन। एडवोकेट को बोलेगा पीक थ्योरी तो समझेगा ही नहीं क्या बात कर रहे हैं। पीक थ्योरी में कोई डिफाइन नहीं है, बट चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट इफ यू कैन कन्विंस अदर पार्टी, लेट मी गिव एन एग्जांपल। हमारा एक डॉक्टर थे, एक उसके रेड, बच्चों को रेड आया। डॉक्टर साहब तो बहुत कॉमन ऑर्डनरी आदमी थे बेचारे, बस में ट्रेवल करते थे, 1 बेडरूम हॉल में रहते थे, और एक वर्ली में डिस्टेंसरी था उसका, जिसमें 2 रुपया 5 रुपया पेशेंट से लेते थे। एक दिन रेड आ गया तो डॉक्टर साहब के पास तो कुछ नहीं मिला, बट तीनों बच्चे उसके बिल्डर थे। दे फाउंड 1 डायरी, और उसने तो क्या करता था, बेटे ने प्लॉट खरीदा 5 करोड़ में, 3.5 चेक में दिया, डेड कैश में दिया, तो डॉक्टर साहब लिखता था उसके अंदर, जबकि डॉक्टर साहब का कोई लेना देना नहीं उस प्लॉट से। तो तीनों बच्चे बाप को रिस्पेक्ट देते थे, फादर वाज 85 ईयर ओल्ड, तो वो लिखते जाते थे। समझो मैं उसको मिला तो मेरे को लिखेगा, विमल पहले आपका फ़ोन नंबर दो, आपका डेट ऑफ बर्थ दो, आपके बच्चे कितने हैं उनका डेट ऑफ बर्थ दो। तो ही लाइक ए सोशल वर्कर, किसका बच्चा बड़ा हो रहा है, किसका छोटा हो रहा है, किसको क्या हो रहा है, किसका शादी करना है, किसका नहीं करना, वो अपना हेडेक पालता था। रेड में ITAT ने क्या किया, आ जाओ, टेलीफोन नंबर भी लिखता था सबका, डेट ऑफ बर्थ भी लिखता था। आफ्टर दैट डिपार्टमेंट ने क्या किया, टोटल लगाया दोनों डायरी का, डेबिट साइड, क्रेडिट साइड, और टोटल लगा के उसका असेसमेंट कर दिया। 5000 करोड़ रुपए डिमांड खड़ा कर दिया। CIT अपील के पास गए, CIT अपील ने 5000 करोड़ को रिड्यूस करके 4000 करोड़ कर दिया, और डॉक्टर साहब का कैपेसिटी 25 लाख बनने का नहीं था। मैटर केम बिफोर ट्रिब्यूनल, और ट्रिब्यूनल में वो जमाने में गुटके साहब करके मेंबर थे, उसने हमको बोला पीक थ्योरी बनाओ। तो हमने भी सोचा पीक थ्योरी कैसे बनावे। डॉक्टर साहब, मैं बोला सर हाउ टू मेक, बोला यू आर चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट, आई से यस सर, यू नो हाउ टू मेक। मैं भी सोचा टेलीफोन डायरेक्टरी, टेलीफोन नंबर, डेट ऑफ बर्थ, क्या पीक थ्योरी बनाऊँ, मैं क्या करूँ। फिर भी मैं गया लाइब्रेरी में, और टोटल 60 पेज थे, 30 पेज लेफ्ट साइड, 30 पेज राइट साइड। हमने सबका टोटल लगाया, जिसमें टेलीफोन नंबर को भी ऐड कर दिया, डेट ऑफ बर्थ को भी ऐड कर दिया, सब ऐड जो कर सकता था, सब फिगरें दिखी वो ऐड की, और एंड में टोटल आ गया। तो समझो इधर का टोटल आ गया 12 करोड़ रुपया, ये साइड का आ गया 11 करोड़ रुपया, इधर भी टेलीफोन ऐड करो, सब कुछ ऐड करो, डिफरेंस क्या हो गया 1 करोड़। ऐसा करके बैलेंसिंग फिगर निकाला, तो आई हैड 30 फिगर बैलेंसिंग फिगर, आइदर दिस साइड मोर और दिस साइड मोर। वो 30 फिगर को वापस लिखा, देन वी डिवाइडेड विथ ईच अदर। फाइनली मेरा फिगर आया 5 लाख रुपया। तो डॉक्टर साहब मेरे को पूछने लगे कि क्या है ये, आप इसको इधर से डिवाइड कर रहे हैं। मैं बोला डॉक्टर साहब कुछ भी नहीं है, अपना फिगर 5000 करोड़ के सामने 5 लाख आ रहा है। तो गए हम उठ के लंच के बाद उसने बुलाया था। मैं बोला सर दिस इज द फिगर, व्हाट इज द पीक। मैं बोला सर 5 लाख रुपये, दैट इज द करेक्ट फिगर। मैं तो खुश हो गया, 5 लाख पे टैक्स पेनल्टी सब भर के मेरा 5 लाख में मेरी जान छूट गई। सो पॉइंट क्या है, एज ए चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट इफ यू कैन कन्विंस अदर पर्सन, दैट इज योर पिक्चर। अभी फ्रेंड्स मेरे को ये जजमेंट में छोड़ता हूं, बाद में देख। एक बार सर्च का असेसमेंट हो गया, देन अंडर सेक्शन 263 ऑल्सो इट कैन नॉट बी ओपन। 263 अपन को सबको मालूम है, आई नॉट गो इनटू डिटेल, बिकॉज क्या होता है, आई कमिश्नर कैन कैंसल द ऑर्डर अंडर सेक्शन 263 इफ इट इज पास बाय द ITO। सर्च केसेस आर पास बाय द ITO बट विद द अप्रूवल ऑफ द एडिशनल कमिश्नर। एडिशनल कमिश्नर, सो दैट बिकम ऑर्डर ऑफ द एडिशनल कमिश्नर एंड कमिश्नर कैन नॉट रीओपन अंडर सेक्शन 263। वर्चुअल डिजिटल का बड़ा बात हो ही गया है। खाली अभी मैं 1-2 मिनट में सर ने दिया है मेरे को, देखता हूँ कोई इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट बच गया तो एक केस लूंगा लास्ट में, फिर छोड़ता हूँ। आजकल क्या हो गया है, बहुत सारे क्लाइंट रेड में डिक्लेयर करके खुश भी होते हैं। एक मेरा क्लाइंट था, उसके यहाँ पे रेड आ गया, मेरे को मैसेज आ गया कि आप आ जाओ। तो उससे स्टाफ को डिड नॉट पेड सैलरी फॉर लास्ट मोर देन 6 मंथ टू स्टाफ, नॉट पेड क्रेडिटर्स फॉर 2 ईयर, नॉट पेड प्रोफेशनल फीस फॉर 5 ईयर। तो मेरे को लगा उसका कोई मिलने वाला तो है नहीं, तो मैं भी खुद मस्ती से चला गया, नॉट विदाउट एनी टेंशन। मैं जाते ही देखा तो पर्सन हु वर कंडक्टिंग रेड बाद मेरे कजन ब्रदर का साडू था। मैं बोला सर आप इधर, तो बोला आपका क्लाइंट है, मैं बोला यस सर। तो गाड़ी चल रही थी उनकी। नाउ ही टोल्ड माय क्लाइंट कि यू मेक ए डिक्लेरेशन of 200 crore rupee, then we'll not ask, we will go away right now, we will not do anything। जो अभी तो बंद हो गया है डिक्लेरेशन का सिस्टम 1 अप्रैल 26 के बाद। तो क्लाइंट ने बोला यस सर, क्लाइंट से फर्स्ट क्या डिक्लेयर करने का, इसे इनकम। इससे तो बहुत अच्छा आइडिया दिया, मेरा बैंक वाला भी बोलता है मेरा इनकम नहीं है, किधर भी मैं लोन लेने को जाता हूँ बोलता तेरा इनकम किधर है। तो मैंने क्लाइंट को इशारा करके बोला कि डिक्लेरेशन वर्ड अच्छा है बट टैक्स भरना पड़ता है उसके लिए। If you declare 100 crore, the officer was asking for 200 crore. So I said, you pay tax, 200 करोड़ का डिक्लेयर करेगा, 60 करोड़ रुपया टैक्स भरना है और तेरे जेब में 60 रुपया भरने को नहीं है। तो उसने बोला टैक्स का बात किधर कर रहे हैं साहब? अरे बोला साहब नहीं कर रहे पर इंप्लाइड है, डिक्लेयर करेगा तो टैक्स तो आएगा। फिर भी वो ऑफिसर, मेरे को ऑफिसर ने बोला देन मिस्टर पुनमिया डोंट इंटरफेयर, अदरवाइज आई विल टेल यू टू गो। तो मैं चुप करके बैठ गया। फिर मैं बाहर आया, उसके CFO को बोला तेरा सेठ पागल हो गया, वो डिक्लेयर कर देगा और टैक्स भरने को पैसा है नहीं अपने पास। बोले टैक्स भरने को क्या, जहर खाने को पैसा नहीं है, टैक्स क्या भरेगा। ठीक है, तो मैं CFO ने अपने स्टाइल में उसको समझाया। फिर भी ऑफिसर ने बोला है, मेरे क्लाइंट का जो भी नाम था मिस्टर एक्स, आप डिक्लेयर कर दो, डोंट वरी अबाउट द टैक्स। मैं मन में सोचता हूँ टैक्स ये भरने वाला है ऑफिसर, नॉट वरी मीन्स वॉट। पर उस क्लाइंट ने खुला बोला सर मैं डिक्लेयर करने को रेडी हूँ पर मैं टैक्स नहीं भरूंगा। वो समझ के आप चलो, बाद में बोलो ब्लैंक चेक दो, चेक बाउंस होएगा, ये होएगा, आई नॉट हैव मनी। उसने बोला पैसे की बात किधर है यार, आप मेरा दोस्त है, आप मेरा भाई है, गले हो गए, गले मिल रहे एक दूसरे को। तो एंड में फर्स्ट इज अमाउंटेड ऑफर, तो मैंने उसको बाहर आके वापस कन्विंस किया तो भाई 200 करोड़ बहुत भारी पड़ जाएगा, अपने पास पैसा नहीं है, तो उससे तो भी 100 करोड़ रुपया डिक्लेयर किया रिपीटेडली बोल के आई वी हैव नो मनी फॉर द टैक्स। फिर उसने क्लाइंट ने क्या, ऑफिसर ने क्या बोला, सर ये नंबर में डायल करो। उसने एक नंबर डायल किया, वो आदमी ने 1500 करोड़ रुपए का लोन मेरे क्लाइंट को दिया था एट द रेट ऑफ 14% एंड ये टेकन बैक इन द नेम ऑफ सिस्टर कंसर्न एट द रेट ऑफ 15%। 1% वो कमा रहा था, एवरी ईयर 15 करोड़ का इनकम था, उसमें खर्चा पानी जाके उसका गाड़ी चल रहा था। ये पार्टी को फोन करो और उसको बोलो हमारे पे रेड आया है और ये 1500 करोड़ रुपए में डिपार्टमेंट सवाल कर रहा है, तो आप मेरे को समझाओगे मैं क्या बोलूँ इनको। वहाँ पे रिटायर्ड डायरेक्टर जनरल नौकरी करते थे, ही वॉज द डायरेक्टर ऑफ द कंपनी। ही सेड ऑफिसर कौन है, ऑफिसर ने बात किया सर मैं हूँ। अरे दैट ऑफिसर वर्क नॉट हिम, तो उसने बोला कि आप कुछ मत करो मैं आ रहा हूँ 5 मिनट में। दैट डीजी केम, उसने बोला पूछा क्या बात है, और जैसे ही आया सब लोग खड़े भी हो गए डिपार्टमेंट के, बिकॉज ही वाज रिटायर्ड रिसेंटली, उसकी वाइफ सीबीडी चेयरमैन भी थी। वो टाइम पे उसने बोला कि भाई डिपार्टमेंट को पूछा सर व्हाट यू वांट, ही से वी वांट सर पार्टी हैव डिक्लेयर्ड 100 करोड़ रुपी, 30 करोड़ टैक्स आता है उसके ऊपर, इनके पास पैसा है नहीं। बोला डोंट वरी मैं देता हूँ नहीं 30 करोड़, आई विल पे यू, यू क्लोज द मैटर। इसका पेपर में नहीं आना चाहिए कि हमारा राइट इशू आने वाला है 2500 करोड़ का 4 दिन के बाद। अगर ये पब्लिसिटी हो गई कि हमने लोन दिया और हमने ही लोन लिया वापस, तो हमारा राइट इशू फेल हो जाएगा। 30 करोड़ आ गया, डिक्लेयर हो गया, टैक्सेस पेड, रिवाइज बैलेंस शीट बन गई, हमारे सब रेशियो चेंज हो गए, पहले जो रेशियो नेगेटिव थे पॉजिटिव आ गए, और बैंक ने मेरे क्लाइंट को 300 करोड़ रुपए का और लोन दे दिया। क्लाइंट ने सब लाइबिलिटी चुका दी, उसने सब दुनिया का पैसा चुका दिया, मेरा फीस नहीं दिया। तो मैंने फ़ोन किया, आपने सबको पैसा दिया, मैंने क्या गुनाह किया है? बोला यार वो आपने उस दिन मेरे को 100 करोड़ रुपया रोका डिक्लेयर करने को, 100 ही किया, मैं 200 करोड़ करता था, बैंक वाला 700 करोड़ देता था। मेरे CFO को मैंने नहीं सुना, पर आपकी बात मेरे को सुननी पड़ती थी, और मेरा लॉस कर दिया आपने 400 करोड़ रुपए का। मैं बोला वो तो लोन मिलता था, पर लोन मिलता था नहीं, अपन चुकाते कभी है? अपना 40 साल से धंधा चल रहा है, आज दिन तक अपन ने चुकाया है कुछ? अपन लोन लेते हैं, 200,000 करोड़ होता है, तो अपनी कोई 500 करोड़ की प्रॉपर्टी पकड़ा देते हैं उनको, और अपना गाड़ी चल जाता है, फिर नया लोन लेते हैं अपन। तो आजकल तो ये भी बहुत बड़ा अट्रैक्टिव है। सर आ गए, थैंक यू वेरी मच।
So friends, it is privilege for me to propose a well-deserved vote of thanks for this highly insightful and engaging session on survey, search and seizure. So friends, today's session reminded us the Hindi movie Raid, in which Ajay Devgan, Amar Patnaik raided on one political strongman, local strongman, and in which his only objective was, I don't raid people, I raid their secrets. So sir, आज आपका session हमें हिंदी मूवी रेड की याद दिला दी. So friends, Vimal Punmiya sir has explained the real world legal framework, practical challenges, safeguards and professional approach required while dealing with such search and seizure matters. I sincerely thank for sharing valuable knowledge, practical insights and enriching our understanding of this important area. I also express our deepest gratitude to the Chairman WIRC and Chairman of the committee for having this brilliant engaging session as the first session of DTRC. So once again, thank you sir from the bottom of our heart. And friends, now we are having a quick 15-minute break, and let us assemble immediately after 15 minutes for our next session. So friends, snacks are ready on the ground floor. So looking forward to see you again after 15 minutes. Thank you.
We formally invite my, my council colleague to introduce the speaker for the session. I just want to talk about two things. One is this is reiteration again. My chairman in the opening speech also talked about on one of the important event which is happening in the next weekend. Scale Up India, that's one event which is happening on startup and MSME. This is again one of the unique event which is happening first time draft committee. And one of the initiative under that committee we are doing is we are working on a publication on Digital Private Data Protection Act. There's one publication which we are working. So I invite your suggestion, or if any one of you want to volunteer and want to contribute in this initiative, you are welcome. You can reach out to me. That's all from my side. I invite my council colleague Zinal Savla to introduce the speaker for the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Rakesh Bhai. Just to add, I have been given the opportunity to chair Internal Audit Committee and Corporate Law, Corporate Governance Committee. We are having National Conference on Internal Audit on 10th and 11th of July, and a program called Boardroom Excellence on 22nd of August by Corporate Law and Corporate Governance Committee, requesting all of you to encourage your colleagues and you also to enroll for the same. All our programs are there on WIRC website. So friends, it gives me immense pleasure to introduce our today's learned speaker, Dharan Gandhi. CA Dharan Viren Gandhi is a chartered accountant, advocate and law graduate, specializing in corporate tax, international tax, transfer pricing and GST litigation. He regularly appears before the Supreme Court, Bombay High Court, ITAT and other judicial forums, representing complex tax matters across India. A distinguished All India rank holder in CA final, that is rank 7, He is also a noted speaker, author, and a former chairman of the Commercial and Allied Law Committee of the Chambers of Tax Consultants, contributing significantly to the tax jurisprudence and professional education. So friends, let us welcome today's speaker, CA Dharan Gandhi, with a round of applause. May I request Rakesh Bhai Shah, Treasurer of WIRC, to present a memento before embarking on today's session. With this, over to you, Dharan Bhai.
Thank you, thank you. The office bearers of WIRC, the seniors in the profession, ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to one and all. So my session for today is to discuss some of the recent judgments of the topics is ITAT, High Court and Supreme Court. I'll go in a reverse fashion. Supreme Court, High Court and then ITAT. For obvious reasons. Supreme Court is binding across India. High Court, of course, is binding on tribunals and thereafter the tribunal decisions. I have taken out some about 25-30 decisions. Let me see how much I can cover. Whenever the bearers will tell me to stop, I'll stop. Before starting with the decisions, a word of caution or a piece of advice is a piece of aggressive tax planning is now not looked upon positively. It is being frowned upon, and it is being frowned upon at the topmost level. So probably you may succeed before the tribunal, you may succeed before the High Court, but be rest assured Supreme Court will reverse it with exorbitant interest liability on you. The recent judgments in case of Tiger Global and all, where Supreme Court has gone one step ahead and applied GAR to an investment made by a Mauritius company prior to 1st April 2017. Of course, that is not subject matter of today's topic. That will be taken up by Anish Bhai in his session. But that was just to draw your attention that time has come to be more conservative, especially at the topmost level. Of course, your case is small, you succeed before tribunal, tax effect is less, nobody is going to file an appeal to the High Court. But the decisions of the Supreme Court on tax planning, etc., are going to affect your decisions, your matters before the lower authorities. Now, I don't have any presentation, I am just giving out certain judgments. I'll say the citation, I'll say what are the points for the discussions, we'll elaborate, we'll discuss, and then we'll proceed further. The first decision for the day is the decision of the Supreme Court in case of Income Tax Officer versus Tej Pratap Singh, 185 taxman.com 1007. Let us start on a easy note, a topic favorite to all, reassessment proceedings. The Bombay High Court had taken a view in case of Hexaware, and there were other decisions of various High Courts like Telangana High Court, Punjab Haryana High Court, Rajasthan High Court, Madras High Court, Karnataka High Court to the effect that after 151A and notification number 29 of 2022, a notice under section 148 can be issued only by faceless assessing officer and not by a jurisdictional assessing officer. There were at least 3 decisions of the High Court against the SSC, which were Delhi High Court, the Gujarat High Court and the Calcutta High Court. Now, because of the favorable decisions taken by various High Courts, What was happening is that the SSCs were regularly filing writ petitions before the High Court and the reassessment proceedings were getting stalled. Either the High Court will quash the notice or it will grant a stay on the reassessment proceeding. The first decision to take this view was of the Telangana High Court, and the decision came sometimes around October or November 2022. Despite that decision, the department had not tweaked or amended the law. It continued with the same law and it continued with the same process of issuing notice by the jurisdictional assessing officer. Thereafter, various decisions came, including Bombay High Court, etc. And the figure before the Supreme Court was humongous. Roughly about 2,000 SLPs filed before the Supreme Court challenging various orders of High Court. And there were about 2,000 matters pending before the Bombay High Court on that issue. I am not aware about the figures of the other High Court. The department, in its wisdom, thought that instead of tackling this issue at the judiciary level, let us come out with a retrospective amendment. And that is how they came out with section 147 capital A of the Income Tax Act. Now, section 147 capital A of the Income Tax Act states that for the purposes of this section, for the purposes of 151A and irrespective of various decisions, judgments, etc., assessing officer would not include National Faceless Assessment Center or assessment units. Relying upon this retrospective amendment, department argued in a batch of matter before the Supreme Court that now, because of the retrospective amendment, reverse the decisions of the High Court which are against us and allow us to continue with the reassessment proceedings. And this was a statement by the learned ASG before the Supreme Court that for 4 years the SSCs have choked up and not allowed us to complete the assessment. Now, of course, the SSC resisted this argument on the ground that though you have come out with a retrospective amendment, the amendment does not cover controversy in question. P, there are various petitions already filed before various High Court to challenge the retrospectivity as well as the validity of section 147A. In light of these submissions, the Supreme Court in case of Tej Pratap Singh held that, okay, we are not going to decide this issue. Department says there is a retrospective amendment and the judgments get overruled. SSC says allow us to challenge the validity of the section. There are various other contentions raised as well, like change of opinion, etc., etc. So let all matters go to the High Court. All matters came back to the High Court. SSCs were granted 4 weeks' time to amend their petition to challenge the virus of section. Department was granted 2 weeks' time to file a reply, and the High Courts have been requested to deal with this issue by 30th September 2026. So the Supreme Court has not given any authoritative pronouncement on this issue, and the matters have come back to the High Court. Now, where do we stand as of today? So, of course, by 30th September, the High Courts will have to decide the validity of the retrospective amendment, etc. But there are two sets of decision. One against the SSC. Now, in Delhi, Gujarat, even if an SSC argues this amendment is bad in law or this amendment is prospective in nature, don't give this amendment a retrospective effect, still the courts have already taken a view, dehorsed the amendment that even under 151A, read with the notification, jurisdictional assessing officer had concurrent jurisdiction to issue a 148 notice. On the contrary, the judgments which are in favor of the SSC, those High Courts will have to deal with, according to me, 3-4 issues. Firstly, they came out with 147A, but they have not amended 151A, nor have they removed the notification. In fact, this was a query put to the department by the Honorable Judge of the Supreme Court. What have you done to the old section and notification apart from bringing out a retrospective amendment? And it was pointed out to the court that that section still exists. So there are two contrary sections, one saying by faceless and one saying by not by faceless. So that the court will have to consider that you brought a retrospective amendment, but you forgot to remove the old section, or you forgot to remove the notification. 2. The Telangana High Court and the Bombay High Court decision holds that as per the notification, notice under 148 has to be issued in an automated allocation system. Suddenly after 2020 COVID, various new terminologies were thrown to us. This is one of them. Automated allocation system. So our argument before the court was, because department's argument was up to 148 jurisdictional, once the 148 notice is issued, then the reassessment proceeding will be done by the faceless assessing officer, because the notification is so worded. So our argument was, assuming they are right, that the faceless will come into picture after 148 notice is issued, still 148 notice had to be issued in an automated allocation system. What do you mean by automated allocation system? They'll randomly throw open the cases to some different assessing officers. So an assessee in Bombay, whose jurisdictional assessing officer is say DCIT 111, under automated allocation system, his case should go to any officer other than DCIT 111. I am not saying faceless. There is a difference. There is a faceless hierarchy, there is a normal jurisdictional hierarchy. Our submission is ignore faceless. Still notice under 148 had to be issued through automated allocation system. And what is the probability that under automated allocation system, all cases are allocated to their respective jurisdictional assessing officer? And therefore, assuming your amendment is correct, it is retrospective. Assuming faceless had no jurisdiction, still it could not have been done by jurisdictional assessing officer. It ought to have been done by an officer who was allocated the case by way of under automated allocation system. This is our second argument. Third argument. When you assume jurisdiction, when an officer assumes jurisdiction to do something, if at that point of time he had no jurisdiction, he was acting without jurisdiction, there cannot be a retrospective amendment to confer upon such officer a jurisdiction which he did not have. And last point is, I have a vested right. The only argument which works against a retrospective amendment is the argument of vested right. I have a vested right. What is that right? Thing has to be done in this fashion. If things are not done in this fashion, I have a vested right to get it quashed. I have a vested right to put an end to a proceeding, which I have done, because the high courts are in my favor. Such vested rights cannot be taken away by the legislature by way of a retrospective amendment. So these are some of the arguments which the court will have to be considered, the court will have to consider. Of course, the court has directed the high courts to, not directed, requested, the Supreme Court has requested the high courts to decide this issue by 30th September. But that will not be an end of the battle. Whether the SSC wins or the department wins, there are other issues which we still have to contest to challenge the validity of the reassessment proceeding. A. B. These matters will travel to Supreme Court, either by the SSC or by the department. If any one high court is in favor of the SSC, then the Supreme Court will have to decide two questions. A. What was the position before the retrospective amendment? Under 151A, read with notification. If the Supreme Court comes to a conclusion under section 151A, read with the notification, a notice could have been issued only by faceless assessing officer, then they will jump to the second question, what is the effect of retrospective amendment? So this is insofar as the first issue, first judgment of Supreme Court in case of Tej Pratap is concerned. The second decision, which came just 1 month later, is in case of Shri Sai Kumar Mateti. Now what happened is, in Bombay, these are all judgments, all cases which relate to Ashish Agarwal and Rajiv Bansal. So there were 5 years involved in Ashish Agarwal case, mota moti. AY 13-14, 14-15, 15-16, 16-17 and 17-18. AY 13-14 and 14-15, the Supreme Court in Rajiv Bansal held that will apply the concept called as surviving period. Today I am not elaborating more on that, but that is there in the decision. Insofar as AY 16, 17 and 17, 18 are concerned, relief was given to the SSC on the ground that the approval is of a wrong authority. Subsequent to the Supreme Court decision case of Rajiv Bansal, we have Bombay High Court, Delhi High Court decisions to the effect that insofar as 16, 17 and 17, 18 are concerned, the notices are bad in law because approval is of a wrong authority. Whereas assessment year 15, 16 is concerned, in para 19E and 19F of Rajiv Bansal, the department's counsel, the learned ASG, conceded all these notices have to be withdrawn. So in this matter of faceless hexaware batch, there were certain matters which pertain to assessment year 15-16. So there the SSC argued, in light of your concession, these SLPs have to be dismissed. The court stated, because the department made a statement that there are a number of cases, we are not able to find out which case pertains to which year, etc. So what the court can do is send the matter back to the high courts. What the high court will have to do is, the high court will have to just see what is the assessment year involved. If the assessment year involved is AY 15-16, the high court will dispose of the matter and quash the reassessment notice. So that is the order of the Supreme Court. So all these matters have come back. Now we have to just tell the High Court, please look at the assessment year involved, it is AY 15-16. Please quash the notice in light of the concession. Now there are 3 types of cases pertaining to assessment year 15-16. The first case is where original notice was issued between 1st April 21 to 30th June 21, Ashish Agarwal case, and subsequent to Ashish Agarwal, they issued a notice somewhere in June, July 2022. First category. The second category is AY 15-16, 6 years expired on 31st of March 22. So they had time till 31st of March 22 to reopen the case. So say for example, notices were issued fresh, dehorsed Tola, not concerned with Tola, I am not concerned with Ashish Agarwal. A notice under 148AB was issued sometimes in March 22. You replied, they passed a 148AD order and issued a 148 notice, either in March 22 or in April 22. Second category of case. The third category of case is, because you are aware that even the search proceedings got subsumed in 148, and under search they had 10 years time limit to reopen. So you would have received 150 for 15-16 a notice pursuant to search carried after 1st April 21, say in 24, 25 or 23 etc. after 31st of March 22. So if there is a search after 1/4/21 and if they want to reopen on assessment year 15-16, they were not required to follow 148A procedure. They used to directly issue a 148 notice after 31st March. These are 3 types of cases. Insofar as the first case is concerned, which is a Tola case, 1st April 21 to 30th June 21, Ashish Agarwal legalized it and then they issued notice in June 22 and July 22, whatever. Those notices have to go in light of the concession in Rajiv Bansal. There is no second thought about it. Department is left, right and center withdrawing the notices. They have to do that because they have conceded before the Supreme Court. A second category of case, which is nothing to do with Tola, because they could have reopened till 6 years. So 31st March 22 was this end of 6 years. Now, very important for you to understand that High Courts have understood this concession to mean that after 1st April 21, Department cannot issue any notice at all for AY 1516. Karnataka High Court decision to the effect that a 148 notice issued on 31st of March 22 within 6 years, 31st March 22 is within 6 years, within the time limits prescribed. Karnataka High Court says, as per your concession before the Supreme Court, all notices after 1/4/21 have to go. Now suppose in this second category, if a 148 AB notice was issued on 31st of March 22, you filed a reply and then he issued you a 148 notice on 7th of April 22. Because under that 5th and 6th proviso, time limit given to assessee to file reply gets excluded and therefore this according to them gets covered within 6 years. Even in these category of cases, the Bombay High Court and the other high courts have taken a view because of your concession this has to go. Not only that, forget the concession part. A notice issued beyond 6 years is also held bad in law by the Bombay High Court in Godrej's case, by the Bombay High Court in Hexaware's case. Of course, Hexaware is now set aside. Because 6 years expires on 31st March 22. If you issue notice after 31st March 22, it is beyond 6 years. It is barred by first proviso to 149 as it then stood. Department argues that I have to issue within 6 years, but because of the 5th and 6th proviso, whatever time I give you to file reply has to be excluded. Bombay High Court in Godrej Boys, Bombay High Court in Hexaware, followed by Telangana High Court, followed by Rajasthan High Court in case of Shri Cements, have taken a view that 5th and 6th proviso will not apply to first proviso. Therefore, last day to issue notice is 31st of March 2022. So, dehorse the concession. A notice for AY 1516 issued on 31st of March, after 31st of March 22, barred by limitation. Now, coming to the last case, which is a notice issued pursuant to search. Now, in case of search, the first proviso to 149 says that if you cannot reopen under the old law, you cannot reopen under the new law. Of course, old law is 6 years insofar as reassessment is concerned, but under the old law, if you are searched or if you are a third party to search, the time limits were 153A and 153C. What are the time limits? 6 years normally and 7 to 10 years where income represented in the form of asset had escaped assessment of more than 50 lakh rupees. So, ideally, they can reopen. In a search and in a third party case, beyond 31st March 22, they can reopen. But very recently, on Monday, Department itself gave a list of cases to the Bombay High Court. So, these are all 1516, isko sabko dispose kar do. That included 31st March 22 case, that included 1st April 22 case, that included even a search case. Right? Not right. But department themselves are conceding. So, this is insofar as AY 1516 is AY 1516, God has blessed that assessment year somehow. That was the weakest case for the assessee. Let me tell you, when we were arguing post Ashish Agarwal before the High Courts, 1516 we had least hopes. That turned out to be the best year for concession made by the department. Now, this takes me to one more point. AY 1617. When will the 6 years expire? 31st March 20. Notice issued after 31st March 23 is time barred. AY 1718, 31st March 24. Notice issued after 31st March 24 is time barred. Which judgments to refer? Godrej's case by the Bombay High Court, and one second, I'll just give you the citation. Godrej is 160 taxman.com 13. Shri Cements, Rajasthan High Court, 484 ITR 576. 484 ITR 576 is Rajasthan High Court dealing with AY 1718. Notice was issued after 31st of March 24. Court held it is time barred. After 31st March 24, sir, क्या होगा? With effect from 1st of September 24, we amended the law. फिर वो 10 साल से 5 साल पे आ गए. सर्च के लिए 158 BC BD लेके आ गए. That's a different controversy. So this is insofar as AY 1516 is concerned. The next decision which I want to take is the decision of the Supreme Court in case of Sharp Business System versus Commissioner of Income Tax, 484 ITR 509. Two propositions laid down by the Supreme Court. A company paid non-compete fees, a company dealing into electronic items paid non-compete fees to L&T that for 7 years you will not engage in this business. They paid a sum of rupees some 3 point something crores. They booked that figure as a revenue expense. AO says you have received an enduring benefit. 7 years, it's a capital expenditure. So assessee said, without prejudice to my contention that this is a revenue expenditure, if you want to treat it as a capital expenditure, allow me depreciation under section 32 because this then becomes an intangible asset. So the Bombay High Court, the Delhi High Court has taken a view that A, it's a capital expenditure and assessee is entitled to depreciation. So assessee department both before the Supreme Court. What did the Supreme Court say? The Supreme Court went into section 37(1), and what is the important finding which has come? Payment is made to restrain the other party from competing. Payment could be categorized as a head start to my business, to get some benefit, some advantage. That need not necessarily result into an advantage. I can lose, I can suffer losses. Just because I have asked L&T not to compete does not mean there is complete elimination of competition. Monopoly nahi hua hai. Most importantly, insofar as the enduring benefit is considered, you are aware Supreme Court, Empire, Jute and all those decisions, if it's an enduring benefit and it's capital in nature, court held that an enduring benefit also has two parts. Is it in revenue field? It is in capital field. This is a distinction which the court brought for the first time. It may be an enduring benefit, but in revenue field, therefore revenue expenditure. If it's an enduring benefit in capital field, then capital expenditure. So अब तक हम क्या कर रहे थे? Until now, our decisions relied upon were empire due to say enduring benefit capital in nature. Now we have to go one step further. Enduring benefit in revenue field or enduring benefit in capital fee. Court says non-compete fees is an enduring advantage, not in capital fee, limited benefit, limited advantage, and therefore allowable as a revenue expenditure. आजकल ये सब केसेस में किसी को इंटरेस्ट नहीं होता ना, वही ऑन मनी, वही पेनी स्टॉक और वही सब आते रहता है. But these are some of the fundamental concepts which I think time to rebrush those concepts. Second important issue before the Supreme Court. I took a loan. Money was used to invest in a subsidiary company to acquire controlling stake. I took a loan. I gave money as interest-free loan to my subsidiary company. According to the assessing officer, for the first transaction, if you have taken a loan to invest, then interest expense can be allowed as a deduction against the investment income. But if it's to only acquire a controlling stake, you will not get any deduction. And insofar as loan given to a subsidiary company, this is not for your business purpose, it is for their business purpose. Therefore, you will not get benefit of deduction under 36(1)(3) of the Income Tax Act. The Supreme Court, after taking into consideration plethora of decisions, after taking into consideration essay builders, they said two things. A, the term commercial expediency or for the purpose of business is very widely worded as against 57(3), expense incurred to earn this income. They say 36(1)(3) also uses the word for the purpose of business. Acquiring controlling stake is for the purpose of your business, it's an allowable deduction. Similarly, they also hold that interest-free loan given to sister concern is also for the purpose of your business and therefore it's an allowable deduction. Why this is important? Because the courts are today not following essay builders, because subsequently Supreme Court in case of Tulip has referred it to larger bench before the Supreme Court. That is still not concluding, but in the meantime we have this order now. Plus, this will also assist you in context of 14A, prior period where 8D was applicable, where dividend was exempt. Even in that context, this will assist you, because here they say when you acquire a controlling stake in a company, income of which may be exempt, not of course coming out in the order, but naturally so, because if it's an Indian company, dividend is exempt. But since you are acquiring a controlling stake, it is for the purpose of your business. It's an integrated business and therefore you will get deduction on 36(1)(3). Once the Supreme Court says you will be eligible to deduction at 36(1)(3), there is no question of revenue invoking 14A. So this is the third decision, a similar decision by the Supreme Court in case of LK Trust, Civil Appeal number 527 of 2012. Company took a loan, invested in shares of a subsidiary company, AO disallowed the expenses. Tribunal held that one of the object of the company is to invest. The company is into many businesses and one of the business activity carried out by the company is to invest. This is the business activity to invest. It has taken a loan for its business activity, therefore allowable. High Court confirmed that. High Court reversed that, saying it's not an allowable expenditure because this will not benefit you, this will benefit the subsidiary. The Supreme Court reversed the High Court and held that it is for the purpose of the business of the SSC. The business of the subsidiary company cannot be, the High Court says, cannot be considered as business of the SSC. However, the finding of the tribunal, it forms an integral part of my business, and therefore it's an allowable deduction. So now there are two authoritative decisions on 3613 qua loan, qua investment in subsidiary and acquiring a controlling stake. A very interesting decision of the Supreme Court in case of Jindal Equipment Leasing Consultancy Services Limited versus Commissioner of Income Tax, 484 ITR 641. A must read for all, because it lays down various propositions. Generally, whenever a Supreme Court is laying down a judgment or a law, it is very cautious to not go here and there, because the finding here and there becomes law of the land. But in this case, in my humble opinion, they have gone here and there. So you will find many interesting lines coming from the decision of the Supreme Court. For example, read Rajiv Bansal, Supreme Court. There is this one finding by the Supreme Court in Rajiv Bansal which holds that if there is a prior assessment under 143.3, subsequently assessing officer issues a 148 notice and he passes a reassessment order. Supreme Court has in Rajiv Bansal given a finding relying upon some Supreme Court decisions in context of VAT Act or excise law. Reassessment obliterates original assessment. It vacates original assessment. You understand the implication? आपका assessment order के सामने your appeal is pending before ITAT. In the meantime, there is a reassessment order. All you have to tell the ITAT is that, sir, this now stands vacated because of the reassessment order. Appeal has to be rendered infructuous. And if the AO does not repeat that addition which he had made in the original assessment, in the reassessment, those additions are gone. Conversely, while you are challenging a reassessment order, and if AO in the computation begins with income as assessed as per original assessment order, additions made in this order, total income reassessed, then you are required to challenge the additions made in the original assessment order in the appeal filed against the reassessment order. There was no need for Supreme Court to give this kind of finding, but there is a finding. So similarly, in this decision of Jindal Equipment Leasing, there are certain findings which will help you and which may also go against you. Department can use it against you. What are the facts? I am holder of certain shares of A company. Company got amalgamated into B company. In the course of amalgamation, since the company ceases to exist, B company will give me shares. If shares of A company are capital assets in my books of account, then on receipt of shares of B company, on extinguishment of shares of A company, there is no capital gain transaction, capital gain incidence because of section 47, clause 7 is an exception. However, if in my books shares of A company are stock in trade, then I will not get 47(7). In that context, the issue arose whether it is chargeable to tax or not, whether there is real income or not. In this context, the court gave various findings. First, they say, transfer of shares arising out of an order of amalgamation is a taxable transfer. but for the exception in 47(7). 2. Section 20, this is very important findings, according to me, very nasty against the SSC. Section 28 is very widely worded. Section 28 is very widely worded. It does not require transfer of an item to attract tax. The wordings are, it is sufficient if there is income and the transfer, whether it is actual, material or immaterial, is not relevant. You are a builder, you allot flats, you receive some advance money, you will say there is no transfer. Stock in trade, of course. Keep aside the argument of percentage and project completion method for a moment. What will you say? Risk and rewards have not been transferred, ICDS 4. Supreme Court says sale is immaterial. Income आया कि नहीं देखो. अरे sale होगा तो income आएगा ना. How can there be an income without sale? So this is one of the findings of the Supreme Court. The business profits, these are the wordings, may accrue or be realized in diverse circumstances even in absence of a conventional sale, transfer or exchange in a strict legal sense. In context of section 28, the test is different. It does not hinge on whether there is sale, transfer or exchange in a strict legal sense. A number of findings to similar effect. However, they went 2 steps further. They also held that in order to determine whether there is a real income, because they applied ED Sassoon, 26 ITAT, to determine whether there is a real income, they said 2 things. You can receive an income in kind, because SSC's argument was, I had shares of A, I had nothing to do with amalgamation, I was forced upon to accept shares of B, I will pay tax if I transfer shares of B. Today there is no real income. Court says one asset ceases to exist. In lieu of that, you are getting another asset. Receipt in kind is also business income. But 2 things. This asset which you are receiving should be capable of being sold. This is a test which is applied in excise law. Marketability, something of that sort. If the shares are capable of being transferred, then real income accrues to you. 2, shares are capable of being quantified in monetary terms. In crux, the sum and substance of the decision of the Supreme Court in Jindal is, you are having a stock in trade, in amalgamation you got shares of some other company. If other companies' shares are marketable, can be sold, can be realized, can be converted into money immediately, income, provided you can quantify the value. Now, there is one problem here which I could foresee, is suppose those shares are admittedly shares of private company, and private company shares are not easily marketable or transferable or disposable. After 1 year, that company becomes public, listed. Now I can transfer. Now when will you tax me? You will tax me in another year, but in another year there is no income at all, there is no event at all. This is something which one has to consider. What does the Supreme Court say? After applying ED Sassoon, they say old stock in trade has ceased to exist in assessee's books of account. Shares received in amalgamated company possesses a definite and ascertainable value, and assessee immediately upon allotment is in a position to dispose of such shares and realize money. Then it is a taxable event. I want to extend this logic to various other circumstances. A case where I get something in kind but I am not able to dispose it off. Ideally, until now, we used to offer it to tax. Forget amalgamation. If I rendered some services, in lieu of that services, company said, instead of giving you money, I will give you shares. My professional receipt, value of that says I used to offer it to tax as my professional income. It's not transferable. Now I will not offer it to tax. Or I received certain valuable where quantification is not possible. Admittedly, my income, business income, but since quantification is not possible, I will not offer it to tax. Of course, quantification, reasonable certainty of ultimate collection and quantification were the principles laid down by Supreme Court since ED Sassoon, but this marketability and disposability is something which now the Supreme Court has introduced a new test. So, real income is right to receive, liability on the other party to pay, and you can estimate with reasonable certainty. Add one more factor, whatever you are receiving in kind, whether it is disposable, marketable, if yes, then it is real income. So, this is the significant, in fact, Supreme Court has given an example. Similarly, when amalgamated company is closely held and its shares are not quoted on any recognized stock exchange, and mere allotment of such share does not generate a realizable profit, since no open market exists to ascribe a fair disposal value. The Supreme Court itself carves out an exception. So, therefore, this interesting decision from the context of 28 section 4 and all, worth reading. It also lays down two more things. Whether it is taxable or not, burden is on the revenue. Revenue has the onus to discharge, it is a taxable income, not the assessee. Of course, you can't prove the negative, it's not taxable. And income will accrue not on the effective date, not on the sanctioning of the amalgamation scheme, but when the shares are actually allotted. तभी आपको समझेगा it's realizable or not. So these are some of the findings of Jindal. Blanket exemption not available, but these facets have to be seen. Now also they have given an interesting finding on amalgamation per se. There are 2 or 3 findings on amalgamation which will assist us in saying on amalgamation there should not be any capital gain tax. There is an exception 47 etc. Dehorse the exception. They say amalgamation is more than a mere contractual transfer, it's a statutory process of substitution. I want to extend this logic to conversion of company into LLP, conversion of firms into LLP, conversion of proprietorship concern into company, conversion of partnership firm into company. Statutory vesting concept upheld by the Supreme Court in case of Premier Industrial Development, some 268 ITR or something, reinforced, reinstated by Supreme Court in this order. There are some 3 or 4 paragraphs in the context of amalgamation worth reading. Decision of the Supreme Court in case of Shobhan Shantilal Doshi, Tax Sutra 51, Supreme Court 2026. A party deducts TDS, does not deposit TDS with the government treasury. Can you claim credit? Yes or no? If no, can the department deny TDS credit and recover the demand? This was the issue before the Supreme Court. Now, if you look at section 199 of the Income Tax Act, credit of TDS can be claimed only if other party has made the payment of tax into the government treasury. Therefore, the answer to the first question is I cannot claim credit of TDS unless that party has made the payment. However, 205 section provided that once tax is deducted, you cannot recover the same tax from the deductee. So you can't give me credit, at the same time you can't recover. So for me it's a win-win situation. Unless I am entitled to a refund. Refund कब मिलेगा? जब credit मिलेगा तो मेरे को refund मिलेगा. 205 is not giving me credit. 205 is saying that demand, if any, will not be recovered on account of this. So this issue is going on before the Bombay High Court since last 3-4 months, and the court is hearing it in detail. But now you have a Supreme Court decision where the department went against the decision of the Gujarat High Court. Gujarat High Court says grant credit. Gujarat High Court says change your system. Because naturally, if it's not appearing in your Form 26A, you will get a 143 intimation where they will disallow it. You will file 154, you will file whatever you want to file, they are not going to change it. Subsequent year refunds keeps on getting adjusted against this year's demand. Break your head, nothing will happen. Ultimately, you will go to tribunal or you go to a writ petition. Court will say you can't recover. Even after the court's order, there is a possibility they may recover. In this case, Gujarat High Court says grant credit, change your system. Assessee is not supposed to go from year to year. Deductor deducts TDS as your representative. Assessee has not received money. Now you are asking tax second time, can't be possible. Department went to Supreme Court saying we are not challenging the relief on merit. We are only challenging the directions given by the Gujarat High Court to change our system. It's not possible to change our system. The department also contended it is only in case any TDS has been deducted from the payment made to an assessee, then he gets credit, despite the fact that amount may not have been paid to the department by the person who deducts TDS. So now what the department is arguing before Supreme Court, once tax is deducted, whether that person has paid the money to the government or not, we will grant you credit. They are supposed to grant you credit. After granting you credit, your demand has to go. And if there is a refund, you are entitled to a refund. Sir, but department ke paas to paisa hi nahi aaya. They have all machinery at their wherewithal to go against that person. They can also launch prosecution under section 276B, which they have launched very frequently in recent past. You go catch your person, don't harass me. Now the department has made a statement before Supreme Court. So you will get credit irrespective of 199, irrespective of 205. Next decision is of the Supreme Court in case of Manjula versus D.A. Srinivas, 186 taxman.com 357. Now this is in context of Benami law. The controversy which is going on, that in 2016 the legislature came out with an amending act. They amended substantially the existing act of 1988, and most importantly they introduced a machinery provision of how we will confiscate your property in section 22, 24, etc. Whether those provisions are prospective or retrospective, in as much as whether those provisions will apply to properties which are acquired prior to the amendment. Calcutta High Court, the Rajasthan High Court had taken a view amendments are prospective, cannot apply to transactions prior to the Amendment Act. Matter travelled to Supreme Court. Supreme Court in case of Ganpati Dealcom held that the amendments are punitive in nature, prospective. Department filed a review petition. Supreme Court recalled the order. So in Ganpati Dealcom and all those batch of matters, the matters are pending before the Supreme Court. In the meantime, this matter comes up before the Supreme Court. What is this matter? Dispute between two private parties in a civil suit. And in civil suit, because there was an earlier provision in the Benami law that if it's a Benami property, it cannot be subject matter of suit, etc. They wanted to argue whether it's a Benami property or not, and in that context, they relied upon amendments. Amendments in context of the definition of Benami transaction, Benami property. The Supreme Court on its own went ahead and held that the amendments brought out by 2016 Act are retrospective because those amendments are brought out to cure the mischief. Supreme Court, before the Supreme Court, this matter was argued when Ganpati Dealcom was there. One of the parties relied upon Ganpati Dealcom. Supreme Court notes that Ganpati Dealcom has been recalled, but it chooses to go ahead and give its finding on this issue. Despite the fact that whether the procedural aspects of the Benami Transaction Acts are retrospective or not was not an issue before the Supreme Court in this case. Nobody argued this. Court had no assistance at all. And you will be surprised that original Ganpati Dealcom held that the 1988 Act is unconstitutional. Government argued before the Supreme Court that this issue was not there. Supreme Court said that issue was not there, therefore we are reviewing and recalling the order. Before you, this issue is not there. You are aware that a larger bench of 3-judge bench is going to decide this issue. But you go ahead with this order. In my humble opinion, these findings are completely obiter. What is the test to determine whether it is a ratio decidendi or obiter is, if you reverse this finding, will it make any difference to the decision? Answer is no. Unfortunately for all of us, obiter of Supreme Court is still binding on lower courts under Article 141. Therefore, what is the solution? We just pray that the Ganpati Dealcom batch comes up for hearing as soon as the court opens after vacation and they deal with this issue. Till such time, probably the Benami tribunal, the adjudicating authority, will rely upon this decision and they will pass decisions against you. So this is insofar as Supreme Court decisions were concerned. I will just check how much time more I have left. Sir? 10 minutes? Chalo, sir. All right. Whenever you are bored up, you can tell me, I'll just stop. The Bombay High Court decision 184 taxman.com 374 Chamber of Tax Consultants versus Commissioner of Income Tax Exemptions. A very widely publicized order. With utmost respect, the learned Commissioner of Income Tax Exemption had gone bonkers and had rejected left, right and center the applications for renewal of registration on the ground that your trust deed, which may be 50-year-old, 60-year-old, 100-year-old, does not contain an irrevocability clause. Some of the relevant finding of the, insofar as this irrevocability thing is concerned, that is done and dusted, subject to the fact that they will go to Supreme Court. But 2 हफ्ते पहले कुछ newspaper में भी आया था that they are going to go to Supreme Court. We'll see if they go to Supreme Court or not. A, the finding of the court. When you come to registration under section 12AB, you are supposed to look at objects, genuineness and compliance with material law. there is no condition that the trust has to be irrevocable to get registration under 12AB. You can rely upon this to argue that if the department wants to invoke some other condition, like you are assisting a particular community or etc., then you can argue that is not one of the relevant criteria to decide my registration application. 2. Under the Maharashtra Public Trust Act, once a trust is constituted as a public charitable trust registered with the Maharashtra Public Trust Act, it is deemed irrevocable, because if I want to wind up the trust, assets will not come back to the settler. It will go to other trust. Income Tax Act defines revocability or revocable transfer as a case where I settle something in a trust with a power to get the asset back. So one who is giving has a right to get it back. That is revocability. Under Maharashtra Public Trust Act, even if there is a dissolution winding up happening, assets can never go back to settler. In fact, it was a completely useless discussion by the Commissioner Exemption, because a charitable trust is generally settled for 1000 rupees. But trustee देखते ना तो settler is going only 1000 rupees. ट्रस्ट के पास आता कहाँ से पैसा? डोनेशन से आता है. देयर विल नेवर बी अ क्लॉज इन द ट्रस्ट डीड कि ये डोनेशन का पैसा ट्रस्टी लेके जाएगा या सेटलर लेके जाएगा. This was highlighted by the High Court. You please understand the difference between settlement of a trust and a revocable transaction of donation. A person giving donation saying that I'll get it back, that is a revocable transfer. You apply section 63, section 60. How does a trust become revocable? 3. A trustee has to use the assets of the trust as per the trust deed. If the trust deed does not contain any clause that the money has to go back to the settler, even if there is no irrevocability clause, trustee is duty bound to follow the trust deed. वो खुद से दे ही नहीं सकता है. 4. We argued, you granted it earlier under 12A, 12AA, now it is 12AB. Section wordings are same. What is so materially different that you are denying me registration for a 50-year-old trust? Even on that count, court granted me relief. This can also be used in other cases where you have to argue, my objects have not changed. My activities have not changed. You can't deny me registration. 5. It also deals with Income Tax Act 2025. There the requirement of the, NPO, I think it is called as non-profit organization, is that it should be irrevocable. So court says there is a difference between a trust being irrevocable and a trust deed having an irrevocability clause. A trust deed not expressly revocable is deemed irrevocable. अगर ट्रस्ट डीड में लिखा है ना कि ये रिवोकेबल है तो उसको रिवोकेबल बोलो, लेकिन अगर ट्रस्ट डीड इज साइलेंट then it is deemed irrevocable. So even Income Tax Act 2025 is covered. Lastly, in your form, whether the trust is irrevocable or not, ऐसा कुछ तो एक clause था and you have to write yes. If you write no, it was not getting uploaded. And this was taken as a ground by the commissioner to say you are furnishing false information. The court came down very heavily saying, boss, your system does not allow them to file it if I select no. And it does not lie in your mouth to say it is furnishing false information. You are not allowing assessee to furnish correct information. Court was just, it stopped short of imposing cost, otherwise it was a completely useless exercise. Bombay High Court GM Modular 185 taxman.com 495. This is in context of penalty under section 270 capital A. Now you don't have decisions of the High Court in context of the new section 270A. Of course you have decisions in context of 271 1C, and of course you have decisions in context of 270A by the tribunal. one or two decisions of the High Court on 270A. This is one of the decisions of the Bombay High Court on 270A. 5 principles laid down. Penalty under section 270A subsection 1 is discretionary, not mandatory. It is not an inevitable conclusion of an edition being made. So this is very important because 270A subsection 2 and subsection 3 deems difference between your assessed income and your processed 143(1) income to be underreported income. There's a new law of 270A. It's a blanket concept, a bucket concept. जो भी आया सब underreported. Therefore, in that context, the court's finding it is discretionary is important. 2. If an addition is made under 143(1)(a), which is repeated by the AO in 143(3), on such additions, no penalty can be imposed because under section 270A subsection 2 and subsection 3, difference between income assessed and income processed under 143(1) is underreported income. Difference between your processed income and written off income is not underreported. You understand? No? Processed income is 143(1) income. 3. If you are relying upon a precedent and you have made a claim and subsequently the precedent gets reversed or the tribunal does not accept that, that will not be a ground to say it is underreported income. This was a case where the assessor relied upon Ghatge Patil, 3615A. AO disallowed, CIT appeal allowed, High Court, tribunal disallowed on the ground of checkmate, 3615A, reversed everything. In that context, the High Court says that he relied upon a jurisdictional High Court, which is the law of the land. On the contrary, AO could not have disallowed this at that point of time. तभी तो checkmate नहीं था. 4. If it's a debatable issue, penalty under 270A cannot be levied. And 5. Reliance Utilities, Reliance Petro Product. Supreme Court decision in context of 271(1)(c) that if you have made the disclosure, AO does not accept your claim, then there is no furnishing inaccurate particulars or concealment of income. Now those terms, furnishing inaccurate particulars and concealment of income, those two terms are not there in 270A. Now it deals with underreporting and misreporting. So there were doubts to the effect that whether this judgment still holds good under the new law. There, if you have to read section 270A, subsection 6, clause A. It states that if you have furnished your particulars of income, you have explained the case, it's a bona fide claim, and AO is satisfied, then no penalty shall be laid. It will not be deemed to be underreported income. In that context, the Bombay High Court holds that Reliance Petro Product is still a good law for 270A 6A. 5 principles, Bombay High Court on penalty. Vidarbha Veneer Industries Limited versus Income Tax Officer 484 ITR 132. You had various decisions of the tribunal and various decisions of the High Court to the effect that a leasehold right, a development right, tenancy right is not land or building or both. And therefore 50C could not have been invoked. Similarly, 43CA cannot be invoked. Similarly, 56(2)(10) cannot be invoked. Similarly, 194IA cannot be invoked. Because there again the wordings are same, land or building or both. Tribunals had taken the view, matter travelled to High Court, Natul Purani, Greenfield Estate, etc. And the Bombay High Court says, since you have accepted one of the decisions, therefore you can't contest here. The matter travelled to Nagpur bench of the Bombay High Court. Now there the High Court, firstly they distinguish all these decisions on the ground that there is no authoritative pronouncement by the High Court on this issue, Bombay High Court. 2, they held that the section uses the word capital asset being land or building or both held by the assessee. हम लोग अभी तक किस पे फोकस कर रहे थे? Land or building or both. High Court focused on held by the assessee. They held that a person can hold land or building or both in many capacities, as a licensee, as a tenant, and therefore this will also apply to development rights, leasehold rights. Of course, it is in context of leasehold rights. but the wordings are wide enough in the order to also construe that even the development rights and tenancy rights and everything will get covered. They write that we don't agree with the view of the High Court in Atul Puranik. Now, our endeavor is this, that if you don't agree, you have to refer it to a larger bench. That is also a 2-judge bench, this is also a 2-judge bench. So, our endeavor would be that in future cases, we will request the court to refer it to a larger bench, and we want to argue that 50C is a deeming fiction. 56(2)(10) is a deeming fiction. Insofar as deeming fictions are concerned, the law is quite settled. Whatever is there, you read that, don't add your words. By the logic, land and building held by the SSE to include leasehold rights and tenancy rights and whatever as a licensee, etc., imagine 56(2)(10) getting invoked in your hands because you took a property on lease. So difficult to digest, but yes, that is the case. Bombay High Court, Goa bench, I have the, it's already reported, Neela Majid Fatarfekar versus Assistant Commissioner of Income Tax, a very interesting decision where the court condoned a delay of about 8 to 10 years because assessee argued, I never received the order. I got a recovery notice, I filed an RTI application to get the order, I received the order, from that day you have to compute the period, the limitation period, and from that day if you compute the delay is only 40 days. Department did a great job of contacting the tribunal and getting the details when was this order served upon the assessee. And the tribunal gave them a copy of the tribunal order which had the acknowledgement of CA receiving the order. So CA collected the order on behalf of the assessee from the tribunal. The one who, not the CA, but the one who represented the assessee before the tribunal. So the assessee argued and filed an affidavit of the chartered accountant that I don't recollect, this has happened 10 years back, and I don't recollect even if I have received whether I have given it to you or not. Of course, the facts were a little bit better in the sense that in Goa you have section 5A. So husband and wife's income is split 50-50 into husband's hand and wife's hand. Husband was handling all the business and he had passed away in the course of the appellate proceeding. So the CA replied that since you were grieving for your husband's death, I don't recollect if I have troubled you with this order or not. The High Court, after considering section 260A, which says appeal has to be filed within 120 days from the receipt of the order, then section 254 or 255 I think, which says that the order has to be served on the assessee, held that the tribunal erred in giving a copy to the CA and not serving it on the assessee. Service on a chartered accountant does not amount to service on the assessee. They applied CPC and all, and they say that a lawyer is capable and is authorized to even collect documents on behalf of his client. But a chartered accountant who gets power under section 288, authorized representative, he has only power to represent the party, not to collect the documents. And therefore, there is no valid service. Therefore, we will consider the date when he received the order under RTI to be the date of receipt, and they condone the delay. ये आप लोग को पता है ना कहाँ पे CA का email address गया है पोर्टल पे. There, of course, the facts would be different. You can rely, but you have to go one step further and say that this is the email given by the assessee to serve, and he cannot fall back and say this is my CA's email ID. Let me just check. What am I supposed to cover? Now I'll do one thing. I'll just take 10 more minutes, and I have some about 10-15 orders to cover. I'll go a little fast. I'm just communicating to you what the order says. You're aware. I'm not going much detail. Bombay High Court 167 taxman.com 837 Smash Entertainment Private Limited versus Assistant Commissioner of Income Tax. If a company goes into IBC, Section 14 moratorium imposed by under the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. Assessee argued, when a moratorium is imposed, you cannot issue me a 143(2), you cannot issue me a 148, you cannot initiate a proceeding, continue a proceeding and pass an order. Department argued, I can complete the proceeding but I will not recover the demand. Moratorium is to not recover the demand. There are two Supreme Court decisions, one in my favor, one against me, both 3 judge bench. The latest decision was against me. We argued, latest decision has not considered earlier decision, it is per incuriam. Court accepted. Court held that during moratorium, no proceedings can be initiated, continued or completed against the corporate debtor. Of course, the matter is pending before the Supreme Court. This is one of the decisions. Mahavir Jewelers 182 taxman.com 234. We are seeing increasing cases of a person traveling with gold and jewelry being intercepted by railway police authorities or etc. while traveling. And then they seize, they hand over to the government, the income tax department, and then you are fighting pillar to post to get the seized jewelry released. Now this is a case where High Court accepted the contention that seized jewelry should be released. Why? We gave documents to the effect that exact same grams of jewelry was, there is an outward entry, partner is supposed to show this jewelry to various jewelers in say whatever suburb area. This is a regular practice, exact same amount, exact same figure matches. We have given all purchase details, sale detail and everything. All books of accounts not disputed. 2. Department's argument was, what we found was rings, necklaces, pendants, whereas your stock in trade is in the form of grams. You have not given me itemized stock account. And the assessee argued, where is the requirement to maintain itemized stock account? Especially a jeweler who is a wholesaler. I buy bullion, I give it to a karigar, he makes jewelry. There are certain bangles and rings. 6 months it is as it is, nobody is purchasing it, which means I realize कि ये design किसी को पसंद नहीं आ रहा है. I'll melt it and get it reformed in another form. How do I maintain stock in the form of itemized stock? Itni bangles, itni jewelry, itni pendant. Moreover, even if I maintain stock in itemized form, it has to be notified in grams. So court accepted that, boss. All my sale bill, karigar vouchers, everything is in grams. This is not a valid argument. 3. Department says give bank guarantee. Court says if it is stock in trade, you are not supposed to seize it. Forget bank guarantee, release the stock. Now, why this judgment is important? Because stock in trade cannot be seized when you are searching, but it can certainly be requisitioned under 132A. अगर पुलिस ने सीज किया है, a department requisitions that under 132A, there is no prohibition for stock in trade. But if you are searched by income tax department, you say this is my stock in trade, they will not touch that. So we showed them a press release of the income tax department where they say we have released 200 kilograms of stock in trade. So we said that if you would have found this out, would you have seized? No. How can you requisition? And on requisition, when I am proving it's a stock in trade, you have to release. Court accepted without bank guarantee. KMG Wires Private Limited 179 taxman.com 565. Why I am pointing this out is hazards of using AI. AO relied upon some 3-4 case laws, apparently were manufactured by AI. AI is a very sweet person. He will give you results which you want. So he will create even if it is not there. Some 3-4 citations he had written. And assessee argued that these are not judgments at all. And the court was shocked. what are these? How is he written this? So then they realize it's AI, and then they have written one paragraph that use AI for research, but before concluding, verify. Same thing goes to you. Use AI, but if you are citing something, see, if your facts and arguments are there, that of course nobody can dispute, but if you are citing some decisions, some circulars, see to it, do exist karte hai ki nahi. In all likelihood, 60% of the circulars and the judgments which rely will not exist at all. Take it from me. Sanjay Shah, 182 taxman.com, 847. An approval given by a principal commissioner for whatever action, say special audit, this, that, etc., needs to have document identification number. If there is no DIN on approval, entire thing is bad in law. Amendment in 292BA applies to two things, does not apply to two things. It does not apply to any notices, any orders other than the assessment order. Section has used the word assessment order. 2. It will not apply if DIN is not generated at all. It remedies an order not having DIN accompanied by a communication or intimation having DIN. वो ठीक है. But if there is no DIN generated at all, bad in law, 292BA will not cure that. Plus, this section which has been introduced, for the first time I have seen, they had to come out with a section to overrule their own circular. Which means circular gets a valid legislative effect because of this section. Department can argue, circular yes sir, हमारा हमको नहीं follow करना. Of course, there are decisions of the court to the effect that circulars are binding on you. But now we will say you got a section. Therefore, that circular is binding on you. Clear channel, Bombay High Court, 184, taxman.com, 434. Under 153A and 153C or 158BC and BD, AO of the search party and AO of the assessee had to record a satisfaction note. If there is a delay in recording satisfaction note, then that delay is not acceptable. Supreme Court in Calcutta Knitwear has held that it has to be done either during the search assessment of the search party, at the time of conclusion of search assessment, or they have used the word immediately thereafter. अब immediately thereafter का मतलब ये नहीं कि AO of search party will record a satisfaction and hand over documents after 1 year or 2 years. Court in this case approved or was in agreement with the findings of the Delhi High Court and Gujarat High Court that a delay of 9 months and 10 months in recording satisfaction note cannot be condoned. Proceedings are bad in law. Krishna Nagpal, 176 taxman.com, 752. Prior to amendment in section 54, if an assessee sells a house property and invests in 7 different row houses, allowed under 54. Now, of course, it's a Bombay High Court decision, but why I am relying upon this is because there is one important finding by the Bombay High Court in para 21, which says that 54 is a beneficial provision and has to be construed literally and reasonably. Why I am pointing this out is because there was an earlier Bombay High Court decision case of Humayun Suleiman Merchant, where the court held that if you do not purchase a property within the due date of filing return of income, you have to invest in capital gain account scheme. Whatever amount you have invested before filing of a return of income, you will get benefit. Other amount you will not get benefit despite within 2 years or within 3 years you have purchased or constructed. Why? Because court said this is an exemption provision to be construed strictly. Now this judgment says it should be construed liberally. According to me, this should be an answer to Humayun Suleiman merchant. Seizure Jewelry, 171 taxman.com, 846, Bombay High Court. If your assessment is reopened on the basis of incriminating material found in the course of search, AO has to resort to 153C and not 148. Similar view taken by the Gujarat High Court in Paras Chandresh by Koticha, 182 taxman.com, 204. A very interesting decision, because I don't have time, just very. Hargovind, 180 taxman.com, 197. After 1421, if there is a search, AO has to resort to 148A, 148 procedures. 1421 के पहले अगर search है, then they have to apply 153A, correct? Search prior to 1421, I am a third party, my AO receives a satisfaction note after 1421. Supreme Court in Jasjit Singh has held that insofar as the third party is concerned, date of search is date on which material has been handed over. Material handed over after 1421, search after 1421, court held that you cannot apply 153C, you have to apply 148 law. This has been followed by tribunal, but recently, I think on 2nd of June or something, this judgment got stayed by the division bench. But a daring judgment. Karnataka High Court, 185 taxman.com, 1012. Again, classic judgment, C.R. Ram Mohan Raju. A company is searched, but when you search a company, you also cover its employees and some other associates, so that you don't want to miss out anything. So if I am an employee of a company and they want to come to my premises, there has to be a search warrant in my name. You can't have a search warrant in the name of Mr. X to search premises of Dharan Gandhi. मैं आने ही नहीं दूंगा उनको घर पे. Assessee of the company was searched, incriminating material found. AO initiates 153C. 153C applies to non-search party. Assessee says, boss, I am searched. You came to my premises. You visited my locker. How can you open a locker in my name without a warrant in my name? Karnataka High Court single judge says, of course 153C is bad in law. He is a search person. You ought to have done 153A. Because 153C says, other than the person referred to in 153A. And 153A says, a person where a search is conducted. Where? मेरे यहाँ हुआ है, मेरे यहाँ आपको 153A करना है. Division bench reverses. The finding of the court is only if you are a main search party, in respect of which a satisfaction note is recorded, then 153A. But if your premises is searched, 153C. Now, according to me, this judgment does more damage to department than assessee. Because you regularly invoke 153A in all search cases. Wherever you have visited, you do 153A. This judgment will assist the assessee to argue, I am not the main search person. You can't do 153A. Time limit to issue 153C is gone. So, a very difficult decision according to me for the department. Prabhakar Nerulkar, again writ petition number 444 of 2024, a very interesting decision. If in IDS, income disclosure scheme, I disclosed my income, AO finds that disclosure is not sufficient, he reopens. Challenge to the High Court. Challenge on the ground that, how did you get this information? There are series of circulars issued by Income Tax Department, including speech of Honorable Prime Minister in Man Ki Baat. आप डिस्क्लोजर करो, हम आपको एक सवाल नहीं पूछेंगे. आप एक कान में बताओ, हम दूसरे कान को मालूम नहीं करने देंगे. To what extent? If you file a disclosure online, your jurisdictional commissioner and your AO will not come to know what is a disclosure. If you file your disclosure with principal commissioner, jurisdictional, AO will not come to know what is a disclosure. It has to be kept confidential. So in the reasons recorded, they write that assessee has transacted in so many properties. No return filed. IDS you have disclosed only 2 lakh rupees. Therefore, reason to believe income has escaped assessment. We argued, how did you get this information? It's beyond you. You have broken the confidentiality clause. In fact, there are circulars to the effect that if you come for a search, when I have disclosed something in IDS, they will not search that aspect. If I have disclosed something and then you issue 143.2, and if I tell the assessing officer I have already made a disclosure, they will drop 143.2. This is their circular. So it's going overboard, but your own circular says so. Therefore, you disclose 1 rupee. You can't reopen. If AO reopens, my question is, how did you become aware what I have disclosed? It's confidential. To get disclosures, this was their freebies. How is it backfiring? Important judgment came very recently in case of Deepak Maratha versus Union of India, Rajasthan High Court. While demonetization was there, 115 BBE was inserted. Tax rate of 60%. Rajasthan High Court has held that for assessment year 17-18, financial year 16-17, this 60% tax rate will not apply. Your matters are pending before tribunals and CIT appeal regarding the additions made in the course of assessment in respect of demonetization cash deposits. What most of you would have done is you have disclosed the cash deposit as sales. Once you disclose it as sales, you have already offered it to tax. Once it is offered to tax under section 68, a similar addition cannot be made. There are various decisions of the High Court. Now your argument is, okay, make an addition, reduce that, both are taxable at 30%. Really doesn't make any difference. Bombay High Court, Halliburton Technology India Private Limited, 2 important principles. 143.1 intimation will merge in the 143.3 order. Adjustments made in 143.1 intimation will not survive if no such adjustments are made in 143.3 order. 2. 143.1 intimations are only for prima facie adjustments. There cannot be any debatable issue which can be subject matter of 143.1. Now this is a judgment of 12th February 25. Now why I am harping on this is because Bombay High Court in case of Rohan something, Goa bench held that a 143.1 adjustment can be made in respect of checkmate issue. When the adjustment was made, checkmate was not there. At the end of the day, it's a debatable issue. If it's a debatable issue, then as per this decision, checkmate cannot apply. That Rohan Deshpande cannot apply. Now I am left with some few tribunal decisions, if time permits, otherwise I will just stop it here. Whatever. Stop it here? All right. Thank you so much for a very patient hearing.
Very good evening to everyone. The session was overshooted by almost 25 minutes, but the thing is that most of the members were sitting and listening, so it itself says that he has done 100% justice to the session. So I request everyone to please thank him with a huge round of applause. And I don't need to remind, but tomorrow again we are meeting here, same time, 4 p.m. onwards, with 2 another dynamic speakers. See you all tomorrow. Good night till then. Good night. Thank you.